It's Tyler! It's Tyler! Oh, I heard it, and I love it.
Good morning.
Ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, children of all ages, welcome in. Happy Wednesday. The Rob Brown Show is on the radio. This is the Fan Upstate. I would like to wish you all, ladies and gentlemen, the absolute happiest of flannel seasons. It is here. The time hath come. Get out your finest tweeds with the waffle thermal underneath. It's a lovely, lovely layered look here on the beginning of thermal season. November hath become.
I gotta say, I enjoyed your talk with Hawk from the Hawk and Tom show yesterday about flannel. It was like a TED talk. I couldn't believe that I actually got to bear witness to that.
To absolute radio legacy. We walked downstairs yesterday. The folks here at Odyssey were kind enough to set up a little Halloween meal for us.
By the way,
cookies and brownies.
They had pizza after you.
Yeah,
left.
I freaking know.
And it was shaped in a pumpkin.
I got the email the minute I turned onto the interstate. My phone was like, ding, you have one new email from Roy. And I looked at it. I didn't look at it. I had my car read it to me.
All right. Hawk walks in and flannel reacts to flannel. It was an amazing thing. It was like,
well, it's not just that it was flannel. It's that we have the same shirt. It's literally this shirt, like this one. He walked in and I'm like, oh, you're a Costco guy. And he goes, yeah, how do you know? And I said, because I have the same flannel. And we bonded in the moment. I've interacted with those guys over the 3.5 years I've been here. Occasionally at best. Like, they know who I am. I know who they are. If we pass each other in the bathroom in the AN, there's a very, a cordial, hey man, how's it going? Good to see you. But we've never really talked, right? Like, the closest we've come to the conversation is the 2 Star Award banquets we've been at, because they're always there. We're mostly almost always there. And, I've had some in passing conversations. But when my dude rolled up into the break room wearing the same flannel that I own, wore it the same way and everything, I was like, we now are bonded on a spiritual level. All right? We are flannel bros. And not just flannel bros, but Costco flannel bros. Same shirt bros. I might walk down there during the first break, just open the studio door and be like, They
leave their door open, so that'd be even easier for you.
Even better. Ladies and gentlemen, happy Wednesday. What a day we have lined up for you today. Why, you might ask, and I might answer. Actually, I will answer. It'd be awkward if I did this show and did not answer. Here's why, friends. Our college football playoff rankings have dropped. Hello, friends. Our college football playoff rankings have dropped, and it is not the Georgia Bulldogs that are number 1 overall. Who, pray tell, might it be? I'll tell you coming up in the next segment. I know, Lonzo, bite thy tongue. We've got time.
Thou horse.
So we'll get into that coming up later in the show. The World Series is coming up tonight with the possibility of elimination. Yesterday evening, Halloween night, was very scary for the Snakes because the Rangers showed up. The Snakes made a late game push to try to make something happen. Put up a couple of runs in the bottom of the ninth. Felt like they maybe had a little momentum to pull off the unthinkable, and then they unthinkable it. They could not get it done. The Texas Rangers have pushed the Snakes to the brink of elimination. That series now 3-1 in favor of the Texas Walker Rangers. So we're going to break that down coming up later on in the program, because I kind of say it that way now. I do.
You're the one who's banned it. You banned it from the program.
The program.
So I can't do what I want to do.
All right, listen. Let me tell you what happened this morning. Let me tell you the struggle that is radio, dudes. So this morning, I was sitting down, listening to, recording, pulling clips from yesterday's Dabo Swinney press conference, because of course he got asked multiple times about his conversation with Tyler from Spartanburg. It's Tyler! And for the record, I have reached out to Tyler. All right. I don't know if he's going to come on the show or not. I extended the invitation. I have not heard back from Tyler since I did so. We found Tyler. I got an invite out there. I don't know if he's going to be willing to come on or not. He's done a couple of interviews with some Clemson outlets since then. I extended the invitation to Tyler to come on this show and talk a little bit about that infamous phone call. I'll let you know if he elects to do so. I'm not going to push him. If he does, great. If he doesn't, that's fine too. Anyway, I was listening to the conversation in Dabo's presser yesterday about his phone call with Tyler from Spartanburg. And I pulled a couple of clips for you. But Lonzo and I had a whole conversation about the usage of the word program. Because in the South, it's not a program. It's a program.
It's a program.
And I told him that that's one of those little dumb, quirky things that I would very much love on my show. And Lonzo and I both said, everybody says it that way in the South. It's program, right? He says he's asked Miss Lisa many a time, you watching your television program, right? My grandpa used to call it that. Hey, give me that remote so I can put on my war program, right? Like my grandpa was a Marine. That's how he talked. So the program thing, I was like, man, I would love to take over, but I can't do it because it's a McAfee thing now. And I spent the first 7 years of my career. You want to know part of the reason that I am so animated and so energetic on a mic? Is because the first 7 years of my life, when I was doing my early radio, I got told constantly I was a Jim Rome knockoff, a Jim Rome wannabe. So now I've got to avoid all things McAfee. Because despite the fact that I've been on the radio for, checks watch, about 15 years longer than Pat, if I do anything he does, the emails and the text start coming in about you wannabe, you McAfee wannabe. So from now on, you are going to hear me emphasize the word program.
See, I can say program because I've been on radio, on radio, beneath radio, whatever, for over 26 years.
That's fine.
And almost 24. No, it's not. No, it's not.
I respect
he
your
was
conviction.
He was probably still in high school when I was saying program.
I respect your conviction. I'm just telling you, if I go on this radio broadcast,
so someone gets famous and reaches a certain level, and then it becomes theirs, even though it wasn't theirs in the first place.
Correct. That is exactly correct. Sucks, right? Sucks, dude. But
well,
yes,
I disagree, but I will do as you ask.
The radio program rolls on. All right, so we're going to talk later on in the show. Yes, we're going to play you some of the clips from the Dabo presser yesterday where he talked about Tyler, and we're going to play another round of Hold Up. It's Tyler! Because it was interesting. There were some things that Dabo said about his program that I love. There were some things Dabo said about his program that I was like,
How come your program sounds like someone saying family?
Program. On this here family-oriented program. So we'll talk about Dabo stuff later on in the show. We have our first NFL head coach firing. Josh McDaniels is out as the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. Bye-bye. Josh McDaniels brought in because he was an offensive guru, remember. He spent time with the hoodie. He was actually doing an okay job with the Denver Broncos, but then his program got caught videotaping practices, and Spygate Volume 2 took off, and the Broncos fired him. The Broncos fired him because he did not disclose that they were videotaping another program's practices. This time he got fired, Lonzo, and this is true. I did the research. I deep dove this morning. He got fired from the Raiders for one reason and one reason alone. He was bad. The Raiders are bad.
It's a good reason to be let go, I suppose.
It is the number one reason. The number one reason for getting fired from a job is being bad at the job.
Was he not bad last year?
No, they were bad last year too.
Okay,
but now
all
he's
right,
bad for
all right.
he's been bad for longer.
So you reach a level of bad or be consistently bad, and then you're okay.
No,
All
I
right.
think he got the first year blessing. Like, we understand this is going to be a tradition. It was also their first year in Vegas, so they had that whole thing external to the program that he had to deal with that AM, right? Or last season. And then I think now that they played a full season last year, we are coming up on the halfway point of this season, and they're actually worse this year than they were last year. They're a worser program this year than they were last year. So he catches the boot because somebody had to, and it's not going to be Mark Davis's fault, obviously.
But he didn't go bye-bye by himself.
No, he did not. Their GM is out too. And I would be too. You sent a third ballot Hall of Famer away from the program down to New Orleans to quarterback down there because in Garoppolo we trusted. And I don't know about you, but I watched Monday Night Football and it went real bad, dude.
Well, Garoppolo had quite a few of us fooled, I suppose.
Yeah.
I thought he would be better than what he is too.
Yeah. Not great, Bob. When Devontae is straight up Hulk smashing his helmet into the bench on the sideline, you've got the best wide receiver in football, and he ended a contest 1 catch, 11 yards. That is, and I'm going to use this word again, bad. Real bad for your program. So we'll see what plays out there. But the first coach hiring is out. Chase Young did end up moving. We got to talk NFL trade deadline yesterday. Chase Young, because they needed help, is a 49er.
Got to go join his Buckeye bro.
Thanks, Commanders, bums. That's what we needed in San Francisco was Bosa and Young together.
Now, if they just get rid of their sorry defensive coordinator and bring in someone who knows how to use that defense, that would be awesome.
Here's how you use that defense. Bosa, Young, get him. Get that guy.
Yeah, that's probably
Go get that guy.
It's probably going to work that way for sure.
Golly, that defensive front is going to be horrible. Could you imagine Justin Fields up against that front? He might die.
He'll be like, dudes, Buckeye bros, take it easy on me. Come on. lay me down gently.
Oh, man, that's ugly.
Knew he was moving, but I was shocked where he went and I was pretty happy because I want to see those two play on the same team.
Guess who they got coming up next? Trevor.
Uh-oh.
Good luck, sunshine. That's going to be a struggle bus game for Trevor. Then they got Baker. Then they got Geno. Then Jalen. Then Geno. Then the Cardinals. Who are the Cardinals starting this weekend at quarterback, Lonzo? Because they traded Josh Dobbs yesterday.
Whoever their third string guy was. I heard his name yesterday, but I don't remember it.
100% Kyler is starting this weekend.
We'll see.
100% chance.
I mean, yeah, but how long will he make it?
7 minutes. Less than 1 round of Call of Duty. We'll see. Josh Dobbs, by the way, your newest quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. After starting all season long for the Cardinals, of course, winning 1 game, but starting all season long for the Cardinals, they decided we are done with him. We're going back to the well. We're going back to Kyler. And the Vikings went, well, we need a dude. Why Josh Dobbs? I mean, I guess Andy Dalton and Sam Howell I'd have thought Sam Howell was a better pick, right? Sam Howell and Andy Dalton both would have fit in flawlessly.
I don't know, because you look at what Josh Dobbs won some games with Arizona. If you could win
a game with Arizona.
All right, you win a game with Arizona, you should be able to win in Minnesota. Of course, Minnesota's defense still is horrible. But
dude, I feel
still,
like I could complete some passes for Minnesota.
You already dress like the guy who's hurt, so why not?
Flannel Bros. All right, we got to take a break. We got a lot of stuff we're going to get into. You know what else we did not do yesterday is we never actually got to your NFL power rankings because you weirdos were so obsessed with the conversation between Dabo and Tyler that we didn't get into everything else. So we'll get into that later. I'm going to ask if there are what NFL coaches are on the hot seat now that Josh McDaniels is out. We're going to talk about that. But when we come back, your college football playoff rankings have dropped. We now know who are the top 4. We now know who is number 1, and you'll have to wait until the break to find out unless you're watching the stream and you see Lonzo's smile that is wrapped all the way around his head like a Venom caricature. So we'll tell you what's going on in the world of the college football playoffs next. My name is Rob Brown. His name is the great one Lonzo, and you are watching the Rob Brown, the what?
The
The Rob Brown Show right here on the Fan Upstate.
James.
All right, guys, stay right there. We got one live reading, and we're right back. Don't go anywhere. Good morning. There's a bunch of kids in our neighborhood. We had one trick-or-treater last night. The lady friend and I bought a buttload of candy. We went out in the front yard. We brought our lawn chairs out. We put on our costumes. We had our inflatables. We had our decorations out. We sat on the front porch. We had a trick-or-treater come about 6:45, dressed as Baby Yoda. And then we saw no one else the rest of the night. We literally just sat in our front yard and drank wine for like 2 hours, which was awesome. Don't get me wrong.
I mean, he didn't see any kids at all in the neighborhood?
We saw no one else walking around. The people across the street from us did the same thing. They had their fire pit going, and they were all out there in costumes, so we talked to them for a couple of minutes. But no, we did not see another trick-or-treater even walk in the neighborhood. And there are 100 kids in our neighborhood. I think that the last couple of years, there's been this thing where parents are taking their kids to upscale neighborhoods.
Well, I don't think that's been. I think that's been eternal since Halloween.
Yeah, but I think it's like the Jaden generation. Like that's the thing. Everybody's doing that now.
Well,
there's no regular neighborhood trick-or-treating. You all go to the golf course now. I almost feel bad for those people. Like
Raven took Silver to a couple neighborhoods, but remember, we don't have neighborhoods. So, I mean, she had to take her somewhere. But you do pick the places where, people.
Best candy is.
Well, yeah. And it's more, you go to the upscale because they can afford to give out the candy. I mean, it's going where the food is, Rob. I mean,
All right. Joe said the Dukes from JMU got shafted from the first CFP poll. I mean, listen, if I put the Dukes against Ohio State wins by 60. All right. I'm pulling for them. Like, they're fun, but are they ever? No, they're just not. And I'm usually the dude that's like, yes, yeah, let UCF in, let Louisville in, let Boise in. But even those schools would beat the Dukes right now, even if Virginia found a way to lose to them. Joe says McAfee needs to take lessons in dress attire. Ridiculous the way he dresses TV. And the very next comment is Trey saying the only thing that McAfee should keep is his style of dress. I don't particularly care because his show's not a studio show.
It's not.
Bros in a gym.
And it started out a certain way and it's elevated. So why change what you are? I mean,
right, exactly.
And he's been in trouble for how he's dressed for a while. His first stint in WWE, he got in trouble for wearing shorts. I mean, it's just.
He can't win.
Then finally people realize, hey, let the guy be him.
Because if he rolled up in slacks and a polo shirt, even half the people that made his fan base go so successful that got this job would be like, you sell out, you corporate sellout, I'm out. McDaniels is now available to take over Michigan when Harbaugh leaves. We're coming to that later on. Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to be my most controversial take. Trunk or treats are dumb. Let your kids trick or treat. All right? Let your kids go trick or treating.
Well, I mean,
make them go house to house and work for
You're wrong.
No, trunk or treats are dumb. Let your kids trick or treat.
Well, here's the thing. If you're worried about safety, you probably got a better shot if you go to a trunk or treat.
Oh,
and then there's a chance for fellowship and stuff like that. You're just, you're so when it comes to certain things. Yes.
Yeah, there's my hot take for the day. We had one trick-or-treater last night. I was very disappointed. We got a good neighborhood. The lady friend and I, we bought.
Do you though?
Yes.
Do you? I mean,
yes.
If you don't get trick-or-treaters, I think it says something about your neighborhood, doesn't it?
No, I think it says something about the parents who named their kid Jaden and Aiden and Braden.
Shake your fist at the camera while you're doing this.
Y'all, there's, man, I'm going to tell you right now. Number one, I understand taking your kids to the upscale neighborhoods, right? I figured out a Halloween conspiracy theory yesterday. I finally figured it out. I don't know how it took it so long to dawn on me, but every single year, we get the national writers who start going, hey, make sure that you check your kids' candy. Make sure that you check your kids' candy for drugs. Make sure you're checking the kids' candy for the druggists. There's no candy. There's no drugs in candy. All right. They're not giving out drugs.
All right, Rob. Here's the thing. I mean, I get it that you and this is not a joke when I'm saying this. You grew up in really good neighborhoods.
Lonzo, there are zero documented cases of drugs and candy.
Whatever, dude. We had this argument last year, and I sent you stuff last year. Do I have to do it again this year?
Yes, it is never.
And so you can forget by tomorrow? I mean, come on, dude.
It has never happened.
In my neighborhood, there were certain houses you did not go to, and you knew why.
Yes, you also had teachers who launched chairs at students. It's a different world for you.
So? You're acting like something never existed when I know that it did.
So here's what I'm saying. People who do drugs are expensive. They're not just giving them out for the lulz.
Unless, of course, you're a known drug dealer and people go up to that house and then suddenly you're hooked. That's how you get customers.
Yes, hook the 8-year-olds. Those financially independent 8-year-olds. That's how you get them.
Dude, have you not watched Snow and other shows that are on right now that show how they get people hooked on crack? I mean, come on.
Yes, not 8-year-olds.
I would love to live in your world.
I'd love to live in yours. The world of idealism and imagination.
No, you would not. You would not want to live in my world.
Anyway, the point here is let your kids go trick or treat. All right? Make them work a little bit. Y'all, I sat on the front yard yesterday with a bowl full of full-size candy bars because I am not a knockoff, man. You come to the Rob Brown household, you're walking out of there with a full-size Snickers.
You're
dog.
just mad because you're trying to lose weight, and now you got a bowl full of candy.
That
Absolutely.
is exactly correct. That is exactly right.
All you got to do is bring it here and take it downstairs and say there's candy downstairs.
Yeah,
you know how quickly that stuff would be gone.
Then I'm giving away candy.
Which is what you would have done last night if people showed up.
All right. College football playoff rankings are out, ladies and gentlemen. The rankings have dropped, and it is the Buckeyes of OSU, the Ohio State University, that are ranked number 1 in your college football playoff rankings. Georgia drops down to number 2. It is the Michigan Wolverines that check in at number 3, and the Seminoles of Florida State round out the top 4. Washington currently sitting as an undefeated Pac-12 team, and they are seated at number 5. Now, here is the reality. All 5 of those teams now officially control their own destiny, even the Washington Huskies at number 5, because the Buckeyes and the Wolverines will be playing each other at the end of the season. And one of those 2 teams obviously having to take an L. If none of the other 4 drop a game, that will be your playoff 4. If Washington wins out the regular season, their strength of schedule is the most difficult of the 5 teams. By the way, I found this very interesting. We were talking earlier in the year. Hell, I was talking earlier this week about the fact that the Noles weren't going to get a lot of help. I said repeatedly, they might be the one team that cannot come back from a loss at all. ACC championship or regular season, they might be the one team of the undefeateds that cannot come back from an L. The strength of schedule rankings, Michigan and Ohio State are both outside of the top 100 in strength of schedule.
You know, that's all well and good, but Ohio State has played people and Michigan hasn't. CFP knew what they were doing. They set everything up perfectly, putting Michigan at 3 because it'd be easier to get them out of the 4 if they're at 3 because all the scandal that's going on. So suddenly Washington, whose strength of schedule is more, I mean, a week from now, if Michigan gets jumped by Florida State, don't be surprised. And then suddenly Washington jumps into that 4 spot, then Michigan's out of it, and you don't have to worry about having someone mired in scandal competing for your championship.
I don't think Michigan's getting bounced unless they out, right? Because here's the other thing that I'm gonna find interesting, and we're gonna talk about this later in the show because we've got new Connor Stallions information, ladies and gentlemen. We've got more breaking news in the Connor Stallions scandal, and I'm very excited about it. Very excited about it. So we'll come to that later in the show. Michigan has a 2-game slate. It is Penn State and it is Ohio State. That's it. That's the list. Ohio State has a 3-game slate. They have Michigan and Penn State, and they had Notre Dame, a game that they won. But that is it. Penn State has also, I believe, off the top of my head, let's go pull up their schedule. They have a 2-game slate. They have Ohio State and they have Michigan. If you want to count Iowa, who was in the top 25 when they played, they have a 2.5-game slate, and that's pretty much it.
Why would you not count them? Because at the time they were ranked. I mean, it counts as a win over a ranked team, right?
I mean, it does. It does. The Iowa Hawkeyes are at this point sitting on a record of 6-2. Their 2 L's are to Penn State and Minnesota. And that's it. Outside of that, they also don't play anybody. The Big Ten is not a good conference. All right. Just top to bottom. You've got Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State.
Not a good conference, but 2 of the teams are in the top 4.
Right. Top heavy conference.
Okay. Most conferences are top heavy,
except
for the Pac-12.
The Pac-12 is good.
Which won't exist next year. So
the Pac-12 is the best conference in football, and that is why Washington is fine. Decker and I were having this conversation. He's a Big 12 guy. He played his ball at UCLA. And he's like, Rob, we were talking last Saturday, but before the football games even tipped off, he's like, Rob, talk me into Washington in the playoffs. And I said, if you win out, they're in. They're 100% they're in. They have got, of the remaining undefeateds, easily the most difficult SOS. Their SOS is like top 12, I think. Florida State has the 49th hardest strength of schedule. Georgia is 100. Ohio State and Michigan are like 111 and 114. If Washington wins out, they're in. But here's the thing. All 5 undefeated teams, if they went out, they're in. Because we know Michigan and Ohio State, one of them is taking an L. That is a guarantee, obviously. Whoever is left over that is undefeated is going. If Washington can find a way to win out, and I think they're good enough to do it, it's going to be easily the most difficult. But if Washington wins out, Washington is going to the playoffs. I will stand on that now. I don't think that's a big, bold statement. If they win out, they're going. So the rankings just kind of are what they are at this point, right? All 5 undefeateds control their own destiny. Ohio State or Michigan, one of those 2 teams is going to win, go undefeated, and go to the playoffs. Georgia, I think, by way of being the reigning, defending, undisputed, back-to-back national champions, if Georgia even loses to Bama in the SEC championship game, but they're regular season undefeated, even with their strength of schedule, which is not very good, Georgia will go. If Florida State wins out in the ACC, I think that they will probably need to win the ACC championship because I just think a one-loss Bama team that beats Georgia would have enough firepower to jump a one-loss Florida State team, even if that one loss is the ACC title game. So Florida State, I do think, has to go 13-0. We got Patrick saying, who does Florida State have left? Pitt on the road, not very good. At home against Miami. Now, that's a game that on one hand, Miami is mid, but that's a rivalry game. That's one of those wonky things can happen games. We've seen very bad Florida State teams beat very good Miami teams and vice versa. Then they've got North Alabama. And this is the one that'll throw you off. This is the one, if you're a Florida State fan, you got to be concerned about. They end the season on the road at Florida. Now, Florida got walloped by Georgia this weekend. And if you're going to say, oh, wait, rivalry games could get to you, that's a rivalry game. But this one's a rivalry game in Gainesville. This is a rivalry game down in the swamp. And no matter what's going on with Florida, they're going to pack 100+ K into that building. But it doesn't matter if they play it in Gainesville or Tallahassee or on the moon. Florida State is in a spot of win out, go to the playoffs. So is Washington, so is Michigan, so is Ohio State, and so is Georgia. Oregon is sitting at number 6. I've heard a lot of, well, if Alabama beats Georgia in the SEC championship game, Alabama will go. I don't think that's true. I think if Oregon wins out and then wins the Pac-12 championship game, if Oregon can get in, Oregon will be the one-loss team that goes. Even if Washington is in, there is still a very clear-cut road for the Pac-12 to have 2 teams in. And I know you're going, wait a minute, Rob. Oregon is the first one-loss team, right? That's not a bold take. Well, that is a bold take. Oregon still has 2 more ranked top 25 opponents on their record, and they've already knocked off 3. Any Pac-12 schedule is inside of the top 25 most difficult schedules in football right now. Like the Pac-12 has most of the top 25 most difficult schedules, I think. They've got Cal, who just knocked off Colorado. They've got USC, who is not good, but on any given game can score 100. They're at Arizona State, and then they're back home against DJ and Oregon State to cap it off. An Oregon team that wins out and wins the Pac-12 will go to the playoffs. Unless Georgia, Florida State, Washington all stay undefeated, and then Ohio State and Michigan go. But I like I said, I think right now, once you take either Ohio State or Michigan out, you're going to leave one of the two, plus Georgia, FSU, and if they go undefeated, Washington. My question is, how many one-loss teams could get in here? Right? Because it's not just the teams that are one-loss currently seated inside the top 10. Oregon, Texas, Alabama, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Penn State, Mizzou, Louisville all have one loss right now. It's also the fact that you've got 5 teams who have 0 losses, and 1 loss would make them a one-loss team. And this is where it kind of gets interesting, though, because the thought has always been the later you lose in the season, the worse off you are, right? If you're going to lose, get your loss out of the way early, and that way you can kind of build back up, Buttercup. But the playoffs just told you they don't care about the AP poll, right? Exactly.
I've been saying that.
Yeah. The playoffs don't care about the AP poll. The AP poll goes Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, FSU, and the only one of those 4 teams that are in the same spot is FSU at 4. Georgia in the playoffs drops back a spot. Michigan drops back a spot. Ohio State is up 2 spots compared to the AP
watch,
poll.
This would be amazing. Next Sunday, suddenly the AP poll will match the CFP.
I don't know, because you're sitting on a spot right now where Georgia's got 48 first-place votes. The next closest team is Michigan with 9. Ohio State and Florida State both have 3. So I'll put it this way. If you and I come back in here on Monday morning and the AP poll looks like the college football playoff ranking, I will and I mean this, I will never pay attention to the AP poll again. Because at that point, we can absolutely go, it's pointless. It's irrelevant. It's a bunch of nobodies. All right, let's run to our break. We'll come back. We'll finish up this thought. College football playoff rankings are out. Your playoff spots right now being handled by Ohio State, Georgia, Michigan, and FSU. Undefeated Washington is just on the outside looking in at number 5. Oregon, Texas, Alabama, Oklahoma, and Ole Miss round out your top 10, followed by Penn State, Mizzou, Louisville. LSU starts the parade of 2-loss teams. Notre Dame, Oregon State, Tennessee, Utah, UCLA, and USC finish up the top 20. Kansas, OSU, that would be the Oklahoma version. Kansas State, Tulane, and Air Force finish up your top 25. When we come back here in just a minute from right now, let's take a look at the rest of the best and try to figure out who could, of the parade of one-loss teams, surprise us all and fight their way in. We'll talk more college football playoff rankings when we come back. Rob Alonzo and you on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
My world.
All right, guys, one more live read right here. Stay right there. We'll be right back.
What? High of 49, low 68?
What?
Today,
That's
high
not-
of 49, low 68.
Numbers don't work that way, bro.
Yeah.
Even I know that, and I'm an idiot.
Suppose I could have heard wrong. I don't think I did, though.
Text said, Rob, you know how when you say a word too many times and it starts to sound really weird? Yeah, that's definitely happening with the word program. Program. There's a word for that. There's a word for when you say a word too many times. And semantic satiation is what it's called. It is a psychological phenomenon in which repetition causes a word or phrase to temporarily lose meaning for the listener, who then perceives the speech as repeated, meaningless sounds, which repeated, meaningless sounds is a solid subtitle for this radio program.
Hey.
The Rob Brown Show is back on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. Rob Alonso with you on a Wednesday morning. Great to have you here along for the ride. We're looking at the college football playoff rankings, which dropped yesterday. So I wanted to go look at the strength of schedule for all of the teams that are put together. And obviously, the strength of schedule rankings can be subjective, right? Because you've got some teams that are ranked, but maybe still aren't, right? Like you look at you look in the AP poll, you look at James Madison, respect to James Madison. That's a good little football program. The Dukes have surprised some people. I said it again. But if I put JMU on the field with the majority of teams inside the top 25, they're losing. All right. Beating Virginia, not that tough, unless you're North Carolina for no good reason. Anyway, one of the ways that I like to look at strength of schedules for different programs is to take a gander at just the average rank of their opponent, right? Rankings are subjective as well, but if you look at any 10 rankings from any 10 organizations, you're going to have different teams in different spots, but you're going to have most teams ranked in a zone, in a region. I might have a team 1, you might have them 3, but we both got them in the top 5. I might have a team 15, you might have them 17, but we've both got them in the middle of the pack of the top 25, right? So I like to look at average opponent rank. You know who's got, if you look at the average rank of opponent, you know who's got the most difficult schedule in college football this year, Lonzo? Take a stab at it.
South Carolina.
That is exactly correct. Ding, ding, ding. Tell him what he's won, Johnny. The average opponent rank for South Carolina.
2-6 season so far.
Listen,
it is.
It's part of the reason that I'm not in catastrophe mode for the Gamecocks right now, right? Yeah, it's not going great. It's bad. I'm not arguing they're having a wonderful season, but I'm not in full-on panic, fire, Shane mode like some of y'all are right now. I think that's too far. South Carolina's average opponent rank is 38. 38. The next closest is, hilariously, out of the Big Ten, Purdue, who has an average opponent rank of 44th. Now, that is by and large because of the fact that Purdue ends up playing Ohio State, Michigan. Do they have Penn State this year? I don't think they do.
I don't know.
Yeah, I thought they had Purdue, but I thought they had Penn State as well, but they don't. So that's kind of interesting. But they do catch. They added Virginia Tech and Syracuse, who when they played them, both were thought to be on the way up. They've got Ohio State, Michigan. They've got Iowa, who was ranked when they played them. So it's interesting. Utah 3, Alabama 4, Indiana 5, Illinois 6, LSU 7, Iowa 8, Auburn 9, Arkansas 10. Colorado is number 12, Texas 16, As far as the playoff contenders go, you don't really start bumping into them until down at number 32, and that's where you find Florida State. Florida State's at number 32. Ohio State, if you use the average rank of opponent as your number, Ohio State is number 35, Clemson 41, Notre Dame 44. Let's see here. North Carolina 51, Oregon 60, Penn State 63, Miami 64, Michigan 72. So this is if you're looking at average rank of opponent. For whatever, again, if it's all subjective. So let's look at the FPI, the Football Power Index. I don't know why I felt the need to be so aggressive with that. Anyway,
well, I don't think you can say power without popping your P's.
Power Index. Yeah, I can. It's just it's tough to do. It's tough to do. The FBI has Ohio State 1, Michigan 2, Alabama 3, Oregon 4, Penn State 5, Georgia 6, Florida State 7, Oklahoma 8, then Texas, LSU, Notre Dame to round it out. Now, the FBI is not a schedule ranking, but it does take your schedule into consideration when it puts it together. How did you perform against your projected win-loss total, right? So, depending on what rankings you look at, whether it's the AP or the schedule rankings or whatever, how do these stack up? Ohio State being number 1 does not shock me. They have played 2 top 10 teams. They beat both of those top 10 teams. They have dominated everybody else. There's a reason Florida State is 4. It was the Boston College and Clemson games, right? That is a pair of 500 or below football programs. If FSU would have dismantled Boston College, honestly, they probably jumped Michigan. I don't think Alonzo's wrong. They probably jumped the Wolverines there. But at the end of the day, and this is where it does kind of turn old school football coach. At the end of the day, if you are inside the top 5, it does not matter. All you have to do is win. You have been handed a position of power. All you have to do is get the dub and you're on your way. So of the one-loss teams, I have already told you that I believe that Oregon is the best chance to get in. Now, it's best chance in terms of I don't think anybody's going to jump Oregon. I will also tell you I do think that of the one-loss teams, the schedule sets up the best for the Oregon Ducks. They've got Cal, USC, Arizona State, and Oregon State. 2 of those are on the road, but they're alternating home and away. Texas checks in just behind Oregon. Here's the reality for Texas. They've got 1 game left that looks like it might be intimidating. This Saturday at noon, they are at home against number 23 Kansas State. After that, it's TCU, Iowa State, and Texas Tech. The good news is Texas isn't going to lose another game. The bad news is they're also not going to shine. I mean, these are games they now have to go put 65 on the scoreboard to jump Oregon and to not get jumped by Alabama, who is at number 8. And I think ultimately, despite losing to Texas, will jump them because they've got LSU. Now, that's assuming they beat LSU. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's not a guarantee. LSU's offense has started to get it together. But if Bama beats LSU and Auburn at the end of the year, that will be a more impressive 4-game stretch. They've got Kentucky on the road as well. So I think Alabama jumps Texas even though they lost to them. Oklahoma's got the same problem Texas does. They don't have anybody left. They got Oklahoma State, then West Virginia, BYU, and TCU. There's no way for Oklahoma to impress enough. You've got Ole Miss. They're only lost to Alabama, which means if Alabama does not lose again, Ole Miss can't jump them. But they do have Texas A&M, Georgia, both left back-to-back next. they've got a more impressive spot than everybody except, in my opinion, Oregon and Alabama. Can Penn State get back from 7-1? Penn State's on the road at Maryland this weekend. That's not a gimme game. Then they've got Michigan, then Rutgers and Michigan State. If Penn State wins the next two, which includes Michigan, then yes, Penn State has a real good chance to jump back in. And it will also force them to move Michigan further back because you will have to put Michigan behind Penn State. If you're moving Penn State up to 6, 7, Michigan's got to go all the way down to 8 or 9, which will effectively eliminate Michigan. And Michigan, obviously, likely would not have a path to the Big Ten championship, which would be their only salvation at that point. So, of the one-loss teams, I think, Lonzo, Oregon's got a very good chance. Texas has a lesser chance than a team they beat in Alabama. Oklahoma has no chance. Ole Miss has a long shot chance. Penn State has a moderate chance. Everybody after that's done.
But Penn State could beat Michigan. Michigan could beat Ohio State, and then there's a mess.
There is a mess.
Well, not really if Washington continues to win,
Right.
win and everyone else continues to win. Yeah.
Because I think as it stands right now, Florida State's going to be favored in every game remaining. So is Michigan. So is Georgia. So is Ohio State. But with the exception, obviously, of the hate bowl between Michigan and Ohio State. Oregon's probably going to be favored in every game that they play and make, I think, the Pac-12 championship, which basically means that you're going to have Oregon, Texas, Alabama, maybe Penn State if they can beat Michigan and win the Big Ten championship. Then at that point they would need Ohio State to drop another game too, right? They'll have to beat Michigan and have Michigan beat Ohio State. And if that happens and Penn State finds a way, then yeah, I think they jump way up the list. But I think of the undefeateds, though, honestly, I think everybody undefeated with the exception of either Ohio State or Michigan, I think everybody else is going undefeated. I don't see an Oklahoma meltdown out of any of those teams right now. FSU's offense has put it together. Georgia, how does Georgia look better without Brock Bowers than they did with him? Georgia or Ohio State's got everybody healthy. Travion back is enormous, right? Like if there's a team to take an L up there, Michigan without their signs, and outside of that, we're having all this conversation about a one-loss team getting in. We may not have a one-loss team get in. I could see 4 undefeateds. I could also see all of you being entertained and enlightened by this Rob Brown Show Sports Flash with the great one.
Let's not go too far. It's like almost 7 a.m. The Texas Rangers are a win away from winning the World Series after taking down the Diamondbacks last night, 11-7. Series continues tonight at 8:03 in Arizona. Our first NFL coaching change belongs to the Las Vegas Raiders, who released both Josh McDaniels and their general manager, Dave Ziegler, last night. Raiders owner Mark Davis offered no comment on the firing and named linebackers coach Antonio Pierce their interim head coach. The first college football playoff rankings are out, and it is not Georgia that tops the list. It is the Ohio State Buckeyes that sit at number 1, with Georgia checking in second. Michigan shows up at third, and Florida State rounds out the top 4. Undefeated Washington is at 5. Tune in tomorrow at 7:30 for Thursday Night Football as the Titans take on the Steelers on your home for the NFL, the Fan Upstate. Yeah. And Jesse, no, I hate cold. All things cold. I hate snow. I moved here because I hate cold. Flannel is an eyesore. Coats are terrible. Sweaters should all be burned. I am Snow Miser. Ideal weather is about 75 degrees. Low humidity. I love it in South Carolina because for the most part, it doesn't get really cold. I think Rob loves flannel so much because he lived in Florida most of his life. This is his first chance to actually get to wear it. Do they even sell flannel in Florida? And why would they? I guess just for hipsters, maybe. I mean, that's got to be the reason why. Do they sell flannel in Florida?
Yeah,
just for hipsters. Because it's not because why would you need flannel in Florida?
Pensacola, Florida has the same temperature as Greenville, South Carolina. It is 44 degrees in Pensacola this morning.
Well, it's not really Florida then, is it?
Yeah. What? Yes.
No, Florida's supposed to be warm all the time.
Pensacola is the oldest continuously habited city in America. It is Florida.
So you're saying there's always someone living there? What does continuously
Yes.
Okay, all right. So there are some cities suddenly they just don't have anyone
No,
living there.
there's a huge fight between Pensacola and St. Augustine because St. Augustine was founded. No, scratch it. It's the other way around. Pensacola was the first established city, but after a hurricane in the early 1600s, Pensacola was abandoned for a brief period of time before people came back. St. Augustine popped up later than Pensacola, but has always been there. It's always been occupied. So there's this big fight between Pensacola and St. Augustine as to who is the more historic Floridian city. And St. Augustine claims it's them because it's always been there. Pensacola says, yeah, we had a little break, but we were here first. It's a dumb fight that I absolutely love.
So if it broke out into an actual fight, who wins?
St. Augustine. It's just a bigger city. Oh, no, Pensacola's got Pensacola NAS. We've got the Blue Angels. I feel like in a fight, the Blue Angels win most.
Thought Oktoberfest was over.
Respect to that commercial.
That's not bad.
Respect to that commercial.
Stuff. Good ending. Strong ending. Yes, if you see us both just stop our conversation and start paying attention to something, it's catchy.
Here we go with hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Fan Upstate. Welcome to our family-friendly little radio program. Hope you're having a wonderful day so far today. I am Rob. Over there on the other side of the metaphorical glass is my co-host and executive producer. He, of course, is the great one, Lonzo. Woo! Should you wish to be a part of our radio program today, you can do it a multitude of ways. You can first and foremost hit us up on the fan phone at 844-326-3663, 844-326-3663. You can text us on the carpros.com text line at 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and we will read those texts on the air. Like the texter who says, Lonzo, conspiracy theory. We have a fan who says they have a conspiracy theory. Let's see if you think it's worthy of dropping the little ditty on them. Texter said 41 minutes ago, sorry, I'm just getting to it, but I had to set it up, and we're going to come to this here in just a minute. Conspiracy theory. Intro conspiracy music here, please, though. They actually asked for the conspiracy theme. I say that wish be granted.
Yeah, I don't normally do requests, but, you know, in this case, I love conspiracies.
Wait for it. Tyler was a plant. You know, someone for fans to be off at instead of Dabo.
All right. I'm turning it off because I said this yesterday. So I mean, I know you can't listen all 4 hours, but I said this yesterday, and yeah. So I don't remember what hour I did, but I absolutely said this.
He said Tyler was someone for fans to be bleeped off at instead of Dabo. Clem Sucks fan told me yesterday that the Valley would be rocking Saturday, quote, due to Tyler. Is Dabo smarter than we think? End quote.
Who thinks he's dumb? I
shouldn't think he's dumb.
Yeah, I don't think he's dumb. I don't.
You can disagree with the way he's running the program. He's not an idiot. I promise you that. Fortunately for you, Texter, coming up later on in the radio program, we're actually going to take some sound from Dabo's presser yesterday in which he addressed his discussion with Tyler from Spartanburg. And I have thoughts.
Ooh, we like thoughts because that's what we do on the radio. We have thoughts and then we express them for everyone else to judge, I suppose. And yeah, I said this yesterday. I'm not trying to steal your thunder, Texter, but
Lonzo did call conspiracy.
Everything's yesterday. A work, man. Everything. The whole world's a work, bro.
We're going to talk about that coming up later on in the radio program. Looking forward to it.
You'll be saying program again by tomorrow. I know you're trying to force yourself. Okay.
Program. You know what time it is? It is 7:04 in the AM, and in the opening segment of this hour, we set you up to talk sports at your day at work. We give you the 3 items that you most need to know in today's water cooler cheat sheet.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworkers saying,
"You hear that?"
First bathroom break.
No.
Here we go. Welcome to the water cooler cheat sheet on the Fan Upstate.
It is time for your water cooler cheat sheet. These are the 3 things you will need to know before you go start talking sports with your coworkers on your first smoke break. We start, ladies and gentlemen, with item number 1. Your college football playoff rankings have dropped. We now know who is in the catbird seat to make it to the semifinals and play for a natty. The Ohio State Buckeyes jump from number 3 in the AP poll to number 1 in the college football playoff rankings. They are just ahead of the Georgia Bulldogs, who are number 2 in the playoff rankings. The Michigan Wolverines are number 3, and Florida State rounds out your playoff 4. The Washington Huskies, the only other remaining undefeated team outside of Air Force and the JMU Dukes, find themselves just outside at number 5. But remember, it does not matter for Washington because Michigan and the Ohio State University play each other on Thanksgiving weekend. The winner of that will be all but assured a spot in the college football playoffs, and the loser will drop out, meaning that Washington does indeed control their own destiny. Win out, get in. That is true for all of the undefeated teams. The door is open, though, for the teams that are just outside the top 5. The one-loss parade includes Oregon at number 6, Texas at number 7, Alabama at number 8, Oklahoma 9, Ole Miss rounds out the top 10. Then you've got Penn State, Mizzou, and Louisville, all with one loss inside the top 13. College Football Saturday, ladies and gentlemen, cannot get here quickly enough. Coming up later in the show, we've got a few more burning questions for the College Football Playoff Committee that will have to be answered. That brings us, my friends, to water cooler cheat sheet item number 2. Yesterday was your NFL trade deadline. If you wanted to make roster moves, yesterday was the last day for the 2023 season that you could do it. It passed at 4 p.m. yesterday, and there were in total 15 moves that got made yesterday. Those moves included Buffalo trading Green Bay for Rasul Douglas and a 2024 fifth-round pick. They sent over a 2024 third-round pick. The Detroit Lions decided to go get Jared Goff some help. They brought Donovan Peoples-Jones, the wide receiver, over from Cleveland in return for a sixth-round pick in 2025. The move that I hate, it's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be terrifying to play. The San Francisco 49ers got better across the defensive line. Why? They added not one, but two defensive line players. Chase Young is, of course, now a 49er. Washington gets a third-round pick in return for Chase Young. And Randy Gregory from the Broncos got brought over. They sent Gregory and a seventh-round pick in return for a sixth-round pick. Okay, Bronc Bros. Ezra Cleveland, guard, goes to Jacksonville from Minnesota for a 24 sixth-rounder. The Minnesota Vikings, as Lizzo called him, get quarterback Josh Dobbs out of Arizona. The saga of Josh continues. Remember, Josh Dobbs was the backup for the Cardinals, pressed into duty because Kyler Murray, I believe the injury line, so I believe he sprained his thumb on an Xbox controller.
It happens. You get into it, you push too hard, and yeah.
Well, because now not only do you have to flip the thumbstick, but now you got to click the thumbstick. That's a control button now too.
Yeah, that's a pain. When
it takes a lot out of you.
It does.
It does. You get into those long extended COD matches, bro. 1v1 me, bro.
He could have also been reaching for the monster in an all-night session and, accidentally stubbed his thumb on it, the coffee table or something.
That's just offensive.
Right? Yeah, well, I mean, he keeps it dark in there so he can stay focused.
Josh Dobbs, who, of course, made a big deal back in week 3 about the fact that you couldn't buy a Josh Dobbs Arizona Cardinals jersey. And then the Cardinals went out of their way to stock their merchandise tents with Josh Dobbs jerseys. Now they're going to have a warehouse full of Josh Dobbs jerseys that nobody wants.
Discount price.
He gets sent up to Minnesota alongside a 2024 conditional 7th rounder in return for a 6th rounder to the Cardinals. Montez Sweat, defensive end, moves over to Chicago from Washington. And my question for Chicago is, what? You did what? Really? They sent a 2nd rounder over for a defensive end. What? Bears gonna Bears, y'all.
Maybe that's all they needed. They needed that guy.
Were a DEOA.
Yeah, I mean,
Justin Fields to the Pro Bowl because of the addition of checks notes, defensive end Montez Sweat. Yeah,
they can't beat you if they can't score, Rob.
The Falcons add to their defensive line. They bring in Kentavious Street and a 7th rounder from the Eagles in return for a 6th rounder. Leonard Williams, the defensive lineman, moves over to Seattle from the New York Giants in return for a 2nd rounder next year and a 5th rounder in 2025. The Eagles get better in the secondary. They bring in Kevin Byard, a safety from Tennessee. They send back safety Terrell Edmonds, a 5th rounder next year and a 6th rounder next year. The Jets, obviously, and these are trades that have all happened already, but these are all trade deadline trades, even if they happened a while back. Mecole Hardman Jr., obviously a Kansas City Chief, in return to the Jets, a 6th and 7th rounder in 2025 for him. Atlanta brought over Van Jefferson, the wide receiver from LA. They also got a 7th round pick in return for a 6th rounder in 2025. Chase Claypool, the wide receiver, goes to Miami, which, by the way, the Miami Dolphins have won 1 game since they added Chase Claypool in the offense, but that's another story or is it 2 now? I don't know. Whatever. Doesn't matter. The Bears send him over for a 6th rounder. Cornerback J.C. Jackson moves to New England from L.A. in return for a 6th rounder. And Cam Akers, obviously, we know, went in to replace Dalvin Cook in Minnesota in return for a 2026 conditional 6th rounder. So those are all the moves that got made up to and through your NFL trade deadline. Carolina decides to stand pat, as does Atlanta, New Orleans, and Tampa Bay, the entire NFC South, quiet on trade deadline.
Wait. They didn't do anything?
They did nothing.
Not a thing.
Not a thing.
Because it's an awesome conference. Don't need any help.
Who needs help? They won a game,
or maybe they have nothing to trade.
That's a lot of it too. All Item number 3. On we go in the World Series. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the Diamondbacks have their long, legless backs against the wall because they're snakes. They're all back.
Okay,
They're 1% head, 99% back.
I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Snakes. The Snakes face elimination now because the Rangers are up 3-1 after an 11-7 victory last night. That, frankly, was not as close as that score indicates. The Rangers put up 5 in the second. They matched that in the third. They then added 1 insurance run in the 8th. Andrew Heaney gets credit for the win. He went 5 innings, gave up just 4 hits, 1 earned run, 3 Ks, and a couple of free passes. All the Diamondbacks pitched. Menchplay pitched as the starter, went 1.1, gave up a hit and an earned run. They went to Castro, who faced just 0.1 innings pitched, gave up 2 hits and 3 earned runs in that stretch. Nelson, 2 outs. He gave up 3 hits and 3 runs, 1 of them earned. Frias came in, went 0.2 innings, 2 hits, 3 runs surrendered. Nelson ended up being the guy who carried the yeoman's work, 5.1 innings pitch, did give up just 3 hits and 1 run before they brought in Saul Frank, who went against 2 outs and went zeros across the stat board. But it was the Ranger offense that got it done last night. Simeon had a dinger in the 3rd inning. Seager had 1 in the 2nd inning, and Heim had 1 in the 8th inning. Simeon had 5 RBIs in that game last night. Seager had a couple. Heim had 1 as well. The Rangers looked, and I'm not saying that they are. I'm not saying that the Snakes can't win in this evening's contest. But the Rangers looked unbeatable last night. That Ranger offense we saw last night, that was a Ranger offense that was leading the MLB in run differential for a month and a half or so. That Ranger offense was the Ranger offense that got them here. That Ranger offense was the offense that we have been waiting for. We have kept our eyes on. That's the Ranger offense that has been, and I think is good enough to win the World Series. That Ranger offense did not show up in game number 2, a winnable game for the Rangers. It did show up in games 3 and 4 on the road at Arizona. And now in game 5, they've got an opportunity to put this thing away, and do not be shocked when they do. This is the Rangers team we kept waiting to show up. And now that they did, it might be over for Arizona. It was a fun ride. It was a Cinderella story. Arizona will always remember this season. It was super duper special, but you don't hang banners for second place. So this one is going to be interesting this evening. We go first pitch at 8:03 p.m. This Arizona team has found themselves facing elimination before, and they have been able to come through it time and time again. Will they have that on the plate tonight? I don't know. Here's the good news. Zach Gallen is throwing for the Snakes. Now, here's the bad news. Nathan Eovaldi is going for Texas, and that dude has been a stone-cold killer in these playoffs. Zach Gallen was a regular season stud, but Zach Gallen has struggled in these playoffs so far. So there is a definite betting favorite tonight. The only question, can the Snake offense come alive? We're going to find out. We'll talk more baseball later on in the radio broadcast, but let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, it is time to play a little game that Lonzo and I like to call Overreaction or Make Sense. Lonzo's going to read a sports thing, and then I'm going to, and this may shock you based on the name of the segment, tell you if it is an overreaction or if it makes sense. Creative branding around here, folks. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. The Rob Brown Show rolls on, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, give me 30 seconds.
So Lee just came up to me. He just kind of like came right up to me. I'm like, oh, what's going on here? He's like, are the rumors true that you're actually Taylor from Spartanburg? That was funny. He said Tyler, though. He didn't say Taylor. I just totally screwed up the story because I quit.
I got to tell you right now, Jesse, I have considered. I would love to take a trip to go watch a game at Lambeau.
Not me.
Played there about 3 years ago, and I was going to go up, and I didn't because the game was in December. And I looked at pictures of Lambeau in December, and there's not enough whiskey, dog.
Did you see Toledo last night?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's why I'm glad I'm here.
Yeah, I like a day or two of snow every now and then is great, just because
I get it. You're from Florida.
A nice change of pace.
Hey, go to North Carolina. Go to the mountains. You want to see snow? Head up there.
First year I was here when it snowed in Asheville, Courtney and I drove up there, and we loved it. We drank wine in the snow. It was a spectacular day. And then at the end of it, I was like, get my ass home. I'm done with this. And then, of course, it ended up, that was the day that it snowed here, like a lot. And the 2 of the 3 roads into our neighborhood were backed up with cars that had slid into ditches and whatnot. I'm 6 feet from the edge, and I'm thinking, got my ticket yesterday, by the way.
Yeah, I saw you posted it.
Maybe 6 feet ain't so far down.
Well, what the big deal is? It's just Creed.
You'll never understand.
It's a good move.
That is the reason that I am so elaborating program.
Yeah, that's why
That's the reason.
But should someone be able to hijack a word? I mean, and say, because that guy says it now, I can't say it anymore.
It's not hijacking a word. It is making it a shtick. Everybody can say program. Dabo said program 50 times yesterday. Program's fine. It's when you it is turned it in on his little flash thing at the bottom. He literally spells it out. The Pat McAfee PRO.
So what you're saying is all we got to do is pick a word and then put it on our scroll at the bottom, and suddenly it's ours.
Program.
Doesn't
change
work.
The banner right now.
How many A's do you put in there, though? Wait for it. Did you change it? It just hasn't went across yet. There it is. There it is. Okay. All right. So now it becomes a thing here, and no one else can take it.
No one else can say program.
Okay. All right.
No, that's not a good one. We got to come up with a better shtick. I'm leaving it, though, for now. I'll change it back tomorrow. Or I'll forget, and it'll stay up there for a few months.
Then I'll look at it and go, man, I need to change that, and then I'll forget again.
Yep.
So it's.
Somebody just posted a meme that has this Florida Gators logo, and it says, these colors don't run or block, kick, catch, or tackle. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is 7:23 on a Wednesday, and in the this segment of the Rob Brown Radio program, we like to play a little game called Overreaction or Make Sense. I take some hot and spicy sports takes that we have found around the internet over the last week. Lonzo will give them to me, and I will tell you whether I believe that they are either an overreaction or if they make perfect sense.
This is like a really huge deal.
So with that being said, great one. Let's play Overreaction or Make Sense.
I think you're overreacting.
Let's all calm down.
This is a huge deal.
I think you're overreacting a little bit.
I am not overreacting.
Remain calm, everyone.
This is a big deal.
That's an overreaction.
Everybody calm down. Look how calm I am.
That was an overreaction.
Look, let's all just calm down.
This is not a big deal.
All right, overreaction or makes sense. There's a real possibility. Really real possibility that neither one, South Carolina or Clemson, in the year bowl eligible.
Is it neither or neither? Or is it just up to the speaker?
I think it depends on the context of the sentence.
Does it?
I think so. Yeah.
I feel like we all.
All right, so you're gonna come at me because I didn't say
I'm not
neither.
coming at you. I'm asking a genuine question because as soon as you said it, I'm like, I would have said that neither, but I don't know if there is a correct one.
You got more schooling than me, so I'm gonna go with neither.
So neither or neither. First off,
Yeah, I can't believe you're still hung up on that.
Technically a contraction, as it is replacement for saying not either. See, I would go neither because it's not either. But I also know some people say not either.
All right, so we are in the South, and I believe
It's neither.
It's neither.
Neither.
Exactly.
Either way,
So this is like a really huge
it
deal.
absolutely makes sense. They could absolutely, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, South Carolina is not going to be bowl eligible this year. They have to win out to do it.
Wow, that's a stretch.
I don't think it is.
No, I was being sarcastic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This is,
Okay.
Yeah.
They have to win out in order to be bowl eligible. They have got Jacksonville State in the Gamecocks Bowl this weekend, Vandy, Kentucky, and Clemson. I don't think it's happening. Now, the good news is, as we've talked about, hopefully by the end of the season, they'll be back and healthy. They should be able to beat Jacksonville State, and honestly, they should be able to get some of their big guys some rest this week. But that Kentucky game and that Clemson game, I don't feel great about either. Clemson, on the flip side, Clemson is going to have to win 2 out of Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, North Carolina, and South Carolina. I would like to think Georgia Tech and South Carolina for Clemson are both wins. But the reality is, I wouldn't bet a paycheck on that. Not even a little. There is absolutely a reasonable world in which Clemson wins at the most one more game. There's also a world, Zoe, a reality, a possible reality, that South Carolina finishes this season with a better record than Clemson in a tougher schedule. That's a realistic possibility right now.
Yeah, someone just drove off the road. They would have took their flags down, but they were already down like a couple weeks ago. But
Clemson at 4-4 is going to be a dog to Notre Dame. They're going to be a draw with Georgia Tech. They're going to be a dog to North Carolina, and they're going to be a draw a pick 'em with South Carolina. I think and I mean this, the best Clemson can do is going to be 6-6. That's the best outcome for them, is 6-6. It is, to me, more reasonable they end this year at 5-7. But there's absolutely a possibility they're 4-8 when this thing is over, and South Carolina ends up 5-6. Neither goes to a bowl game, but South Carolina ends with a better record. So I'm going to say that makes sense.
wow, I kind of want to see that happen to a degree. All right, is this an overreaction? According to ESPN, Giannis is without a doubt the best player in the NBA.
I am going to say Giannis is the most athletic player in the NBA. Nikola Jokic is the best player in the NBA. And I'm tired of people pretending like he's not. And here's the reality. Nikola Jokic is boring. He's absolutely a boring player. He's the type of dude who is going to drop the ball into the basket instead of going with a two-hand rattle at home slam. Did you see the alley-oop he threw from an inbound the other day, Zoe? Did you see that video floating around?
No, I did not.
Nikola Jokic took the ball in front of the bench on the far side of the court. The ref hands him the ball. He takes the ball one-handed from the ref. He turns, and he throws it like a quarterback at the basket. And one of the Nuggets just goes up, grabs it, and alley-oops it. An inbounds, 70-foot, one-handed alley-oop from an inbounds position. No one else in the league can, A, see that, and B, do that. It was if an NFL quarterback threw that pass, we'd be like, damn, that was real good. That's a 7'1" Nikola Jokic. Yes, Giannis Antetokounmpo is the most athletic player in the NBA, without a doubt. He can do things nobody else can do. But the best player, the player who can take an average group of dudes and make them look like all-stars, is Nikola Jokic, and I'm tired of pretending that it's not. I am going to say, ESPN, put some respect on that man's name.
All right. The next thing, is it an overreaction? The Connor Stallions scandal is going to send Jim Harbaugh to the NFL.
So this is like a really huge deal.
I'm going to tell you why it's a really huge deal. It's a really huge deal for one reason and one reason alone. It's a really huge deal because this is a situation where a feckless NCAA actually has an opportunity to bear some teeth, actually has an opportunity to enforce some of their own rules and regulations. They have an opportunity to actually appear like they are a, competent organization. Why? Well, who is the group that actually put all of this evidence on the table? The rest of the Big Ten, yeah? The rest of the Big Ten actually put all this evidence. The rest of the Big Ten went to the conference, went to the NCAA and said, yo, here's the pictures, here's the videos. This guy was at our game. He was utilizing electronic devices illegally in order to obtain information. Now, stealing signs by looking across the field and trying to pick up on what they're doing is completely legal, and everybody does it. But the NCAA has very clear rules against the use of electronic equipment in order to record signs and try to steal them. And considering the rest of the Big Ten schools were the ones who came forward and kind of put all this up in the air against Michigan, the NCAA can actually step in here and do something. And most of the Big Ten, instead of going, we're going to leave, we're going to do our own football, they'll go, thank you. Thank you for getting this one right. Thank you for actually punishing them. And Harbaugh is not going to eat another 4 or 8 or 12 game suspension. Now we're starting to see vacancies in the league pop up. He can get a head start on that if there is any actual discipline from the NCAA. And I do believe there will be. Jim Harbaugh's going back to the show. So I absolutely think this makes sense.
I hear the Raiders are available.
Turns out they are. And there's a built-in offensive coordinator right there.
All right. This has been on this thing for a month, so I'm going to go ahead and get this out of the way so you can delete it. Smash burgers should not be a thing.
So this is like a really huge deal.
And then.
So this is like a really huge deal.
And then.
So this is like a really huge deal.
Stop smashing your burgers. Stop smashing burgers. Literally anyone who's worked a grill for more than a minute will be like, stop smashing your burgers.
So this is like a really huge
Stop
deal.
it. All of the good stuff, all that, listen, when you describe the perfect hamburger, what is one word that everybody says? I want a big, juicy burger.
I'm not playing into your thing here because I disagree with you. So,
I'm willing to hear your argument so that I can dismiss it publicly. Everyone says, I want a big, juicy burger. Do you know what happens to a thing that has juice in it and then you smash it? The juice goes away. And now you don't have a big, juicy burger. You have a thin, not juicy burger. And nobody has ever said, you know what I'm going to go for right now? A thin, not juicy burger. Nobody's ever said that.
All right. As a couple things, as someone who worked the grill at McDonald's for like a couple months, you have to sear it. So you got to push that thing down to get it to cook faster. And so whilst making a hamburger, sometimes if I'm in a hurry and I'm hungry, I'm going to make it cook faster I didn't realize I was smashing it. I thought I was searing it. I was pressing it. So I am impatient. I don't like smelling food for a long period of time. I want to eat it. So I have no problem with smashing it.
Now I understand. It is not the whistling that makes you hate the song Patience from Guns N' Roses. It's that you have none. I get it. It makes so much more sense.
If if there's food in the crock pot, I got to leave because I can't handle. If I smell food, I want to eat it.
You are missing out on so much. Crockpot food is
Am
top
I?
10 food.
I
Yes.
don't think I am.
Yes, despite the sturdiness, you're missing out. Great food is worth waiting for.
Says the guy who doesn't
Great
eat breakfast till like 1 p.m.
Correct.
I mean,
But my lunches are always bangers. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Great food is worth waiting for. And again, listen, I had McDonald's on Sunday. I am a Mickey D's guy, 100%. But here's the thing.
And they seared the crap out of that thing.
Exactly. But I have never once before said, I want a big, juicy, delicious burger. Let's go to MacD's. MacD's is wonderful. It is a wonderful franchise because it is, I got 10 minutes and a burger sounds good, right? But if I want a burger,
when I'm at home, I got
burger.
10 minutes and a burger sounds good. I'm going to smash that thing. I'm going to smash it.
And on top of that, you don't need to smash the burger to make it cook faster if you're at the house.
Sure you do.
Just make a thinner, smaller patty that doesn't need to be smashed, but retains the juicy in the big juicy burger.
Rob, do you see these hands? They don't make small burgers. Okay, they don't.
Then it's a you problem, man. Stop smashing your burgers.
Do what you like.
Stop smashing your burgers.
You like the burger arbiter now? All right. Next one. Of the top 5 playoff teams, only the loser of Ohio State and that team up north.
Where?
Well, Ohio State,
y'all.
Ohio State and that team up north will fail to qualify.
I actually think that there's a very good chance that ends up being true.
This is like a really huge deal.
I think there's a very good chance that ends up being true. Washington has the best chance to lose, but I think they've already played the best team they're going to play, and that's Oregon, right? They have the best chance to drop one, but they've already played the best team that they're going to play, and they have got the most difficult schedule of anybody in there. If Oregon couldn't get Washington, I don't think anybody else can. Now, that's not to say an upset's impossible, but I do think it's improbable. Georgia's got nobody left. Florida State's got 2 rivalry games ahead of them. They've got Miami, that is in Tallahassee, and they've got Florida on the road at Ben Hill Griffin down in Gainesville. There is a decent chance that Florida State ends up stumbling in one of those. But I'm telling you right now, I wouldn't place a money line bet on Miami or Florida to upset. I wouldn't do it. I'm not placing an outright bet no matter what that number is. Georgia's not losing a game in the regular season. They look progressively better by the week. Kirby Smart's got them trending upwards from number 1 in the AP poll. Florida State, I don't think is going to drop one, though if somebody's going to, it'll be the Noles. I don't think Washington's dropping another one. So yeah, honestly, I think there is a better than 25% chance that all 4 playoff teams are undefeated. The winner of Michigan, Ohio State, Georgia, Florida State, Washington. I think there's a better than 1 in 5 chance that all 4 teams get in undefeated this year because they have all separated themselves. That, to me, makes perfect sense.
So this is like a really huge deal.
We got to take a break.
All right. Wait.
Oh.
Let's get some tickets away.
Oh, yeah, let's do that.
Let's do that.
To the, Ingalls Asheville Basketball Classic taking place on November 10th and 12th in the Harris Cherokee Center just outside of Asheville.
Let's do that. It's a wonderful venue, and it's basketball.
I got to tell you, I have not been to that venue yet, but I'm probably going up for this. You got 2 games on the 10th. You got 2 games on the 12th, and the winner that makes it in is caller number 2. Caller number 2.
I took some thought there. I mean,
There are so many numbers.
There's lots of them.
The winner that makes it in is caller number 2 is getting 2 tickets to both days. You are getting 2 tickets to the first day and the second day, you are getting 2 tickets that are good for both games on both days. Presented by our friends at Ingles, your local tailgating HQ. Caller number 2 gets 2 tickets to the Ingles Asheville Basketball Classic, November 10th and 12th. You're going to all 4 games. Clemson's going to be there. UAB's going to be there. It's going to be a good time. Caller number 2 right now to 844-326-3663. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, we're going to step away so Lonzo can gather sensitive information, and then we return shortly. Thanks.
Zach, I would try that, but the problem is I don't know if they still serve food down there. We keep talking about going down there. It still exists, and there's still people there, like on Saturdays. I may try it this week. And then I can take Rob down for the world famous Mustang burger.
What is a Mustang burger?
It's like at Quaker's State. You know, that's right there.
I've never been there. It's right around the corner.
Yeah, it's right there. I'm pointing at it. If you go that way, you get there eventually. You have to go through some people's yards and things, but you get there. Zach just really likes it because of his spot-on English accent. If Zach was in Britain right now, you would think that he was born there.
The Rob Brown radio program continues right here on the Fan Upstate. It's Rob and Lonzo. That's not getting annoying at all, man.
No, because you sound like the Macaroni Brothers, and I tried to get some Macaroni Brothers stuff earlier, but I can't. You remember the Macaroni Brothers? Because I know you played that game.
I did play that game.
Hey, it's the Macaroni Brothers. It's a fine program.
Like 6 of us know that reference, for the record.
A lot of people played that game. So
it was a great game. Great game. All right. We got a few more things to run into. We're going to go to that Dabo audio from his press conference yesterday, coming up in the start of the next hour, because there is some stuff that I would very much like to get to. Let me go with this though. We mentioned it in Overreaction Makes Sense, and yes, I am going to wrap up the Money Hour of the show talking shooty hoops. 100% I'm going to. Because we do everything on this show. All right. We're not the type of show that thinks, you know what we need to do? We need to break down that local college football program's new socks. All right. There's other sports, y'all, and there's fans of other sports. So we're going to talk about them. ESPN came up with their top 10 players list. And inside the top 10, they've got some interesting choices. I don't necessarily disagree with any of them. They've got Anthony Davis at number 10, LeBron James at number 9. Good. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at number 8. Kevin Durant at number 7. Jason Tatum at number 6. Steph Curry at number 5. Luka at number 4. Joel Embiid at number 3. I'm actually okay with that list. I might shift a guy up or down here and there, but like not drastically. I'm pretty much okay with that list. The spot that I kind of lose them at, and this is, I will acknowledge again, subjective, but so are many things we talk about on the radio. The spot they lose me is throwing Nikola Jokic at number 2 and Giannis at number 1. Now, if you are talking about who would win in a one-on-one game, and that is how you determine who the best player is, then yeah, I'm fine with this list, and I'm fine with Giannis being number 1. Giannis Antetokounmpo is a chill version of what LeBron was in his prime. There's really not much the guy can't do. Antetokounmpo is a guy that averages 30, 10, and 5. He's a guy that shoots 50% from the floor. He's a guy that has taken a small market team, which is a death sentence in the NBA, and turned them into arguably the favorites to win that conference. Antetokounmpo is just him. That's just all there is to it. And by the way, I'm very excited about the partnership with Dame Lillard. I think that Dame, who by all stories did not want to be in Milwaukee, the story goes that he asked for the trade. He told Milwaukee he wanted to be traded to Miami. Milwaukee was like, nah, bro. You want to trade? We're trading you, dog. And you don't get to pick where. And send him to Milwaukee. except for they sent him there out of bitterness, and they ended up pairing him up with Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Milwaukee Bucks are for a reason. Although I'm going to tell you right now, the addition of Drew Holiday to the Boston Celtics, they're going to be real good because now they got some defense. Anyway, the reality here is Nikola Jokic should be listed number 1 on this list. All right? Now, I am not taking into consideration, although I very much love to, the summer of Jokic, the viral videos. I'm not taking into consideration I have to go home now. Yo, Nick, your championship parade's in 2 days. You hanging out? No, I have to go home. I have horses. I have family. Like a Rocky bad guy, right? I'm not even taking all of that into consideration. Let's just talk basketball. All right? Let's just talk basketball. There is something that I think Nikola Jokic has done that, for a lot of dumb reasons, has got a lot of people down on Nikola Jokic. Nikola Jokic this past season had an opportunity to win a 3rd straight MVP race. And Nikola Jokic very publicly said repeatedly, I don't care. I don't care. It's not a big deal. Like, if I win it, great. But the reality is I'm here for championships. I'm here for titles. I'm here for trophies. I'm here for banners, not MVP awards. And I think because there has been, and there is, such a large focus on, and again, good, bad, or indifferent, it is up to you to decide how you feel about it. But there is such an emphasis on individuality within the NBA, specifically from fans, that when you ended up with a player who got told, hey, you are in line to be one of less than a fistful of players who win a trio of MVPs back to back to back, and he went, I don't care, dude. I won an NBA Finals. That's all I'm here for. That he did not decide, I'm going to go in on hard on this individuality aspect of the NBA, right? We talk about that with all the other players that we listed on the top 10. Anthony Davis, like I got into it with a Lakers fan the other day. Like, I need AD to take over in the 4th. I'm like, I need AD to be the guy you play through. I need him to be that genuinely talented 4 player that you play through that opens up the floor for shooters by going hard in the paint. It's like, no, I need him to score 30 in the 4. Like, I mean, look, if he does and they win, great. But if you play through him and it opens up the floor, I think you got a better chance of winning. Whatever. That type of fan is all in on that individualistic aspect of the NBA. Nikola Jokic is exactly the opposite. Nikola Jokic was the best players in the final. He was the first player in history to lead the postseason in points, rebounds, and assists. He ran through the Suns, Lakers, and Heat. The dude is just incredible. He's just incredible. Nikola Jokic is a walking triple-double, right? Nikola Jokic, if you go look at NBA betting odds any given night the Nuggets play, you can always make a gamble on over-under points plus rebounds plus assist. And for a lot of guys, those numbers are in the 20s, maybe the upper 20s. For superstars, they're in the 30s. And then there's Nikola Jokic, and it's like 44, 45. And it's still going to hit more than it doesn't. Average last year, 30 points, 13.5 rebounds, 9.5 assists in the postseason. 10 playoff triple-doubles, the most in a single postseason ever. Joke has led the Nuggets in points, rebounds, and assists in 6 straight seasons. That is more than any player in history. Any player in history. Any player in history. You understand how ridiculous that is? The dude is throwing 70-foot inbound alley-oops, and he makes it look like it's just another day. Nikola Jokic, more often than not, looks like he could sleepwalk his way to a double-double. This dude's unbelievable. It is not often that some sort of subjective ranking list like this makes me go, I got to talk about this. I got to bring this up on the radio. I got to make people listen to me talk about this. But Nikola Jokic not being considered the current best player in the NBA is foolish, dude. Could Nikola Jokic beat Giannis Antetokounmpo in a one-on-one game? No, he could not. Hey, Lonzo, quick question. How many NBA finals have been determined by a one-on-one game? Because I'm pretty sure the answer is 0.
I don't recall any. No. Maybe back in the day when it first started.
No, I'm pretty sure back then basketball was also 5-on-5.
Was it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
You know, when the Peach
then,
basket was up there, maybe.
Yep.
Or
I
Apple
think
basket,
even James Naismith made it a 5v5 game. Now, there are NBA finals where a guy takes over, like Nikola Jokic, like Giannis Antetokounmpo, like LeBron James, like Kobe Bryant, like Michael Jordan, for sure. But it's still a 5-on-5 game. And if it goes to be a 1-on-5 matchup, that team's going to lose, like more often than they don't. Nikola Jokic makes a great. If Nikola Jokic wasn't on the Suns, they're a 25-win program. They win 25 games a year, tops. With Nikola Jokic, they win the NBA Finals. Not even Giannis does that for the Bucks. He's got to have help. So I read this list. I don't have a problem with most of it, but it drove me bananas. And by the way, how good is this guy that I consider being named the number 2 player in the NBA? Disrespectful. And Lonzo, you know what happens when we disrespect people on this show.
They win?
Correct. I'm tired of the disrespect for Nikola Jokic. I'm also tired of not knowing the most important. Lonzo's got a sports flash right now.
Confusion is part of hunger. Maybe eat before 1 p.m. The first college football playoff rankings are out, and it is not Georgia that tops the list. It is the Ohio State Buckeyes that sit at number 1, with Georgia checking in second. Michigan shows up at third, and Florida State rounds out the top 4. Undefeated Washington sits on the outside at number 5. Our first NFL coaching change belongs to the Las Vegas Raiders, who released both Josh McDaniels and the general manager Dave Ziegler last night. Raiders owner Mark Davis offered no comment on the firing and named linebackers coach Antonio Pierce their interim head coach. I don't know if you knew this, but the high school football playoffs start this Friday as Burns takes on Dorman. Also known as Dorman. Rob Brown brings you the play-by-play right here on your home for Burns football exclusively. The Fan, Upstate. That's what I get for making fun of him. I doomed myself to stutter.
What I was told was bone on bone. I was going to have to
What are you doing, man? What are you doing?
Nothing important. Story of my life. Was that a follow-up on that message?
It is.
Okay.
Which, when you sent me the message, I tried it right away and it worked for me.
Okay.
So, now I'll probably have to text back stop because I'll start getting messages that I don't want. But look at that. The wind is killing it out there.
It really is.
That would be why I was telling my wife it's going to be colder when you leave than it is when I leave. So the wind must have picked up right after we got here.
For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clear skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi.
According to the internet, Tony Khan has a big announcement tonight.
This big announcement is that there's a big announcement. We will do that Dabo sound here. There should be 3 clips. One of them is long, so we'll play our little dumb game again.
Okay. I never call anything little because it's belittling. Just want you to know that. Stop belittling the segment. It's an amazing segment. It's a great idea.
On this little radio program. The Rob Brown radio program is in your ear holes, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. It is the Fan Upstate. Rob Alonzo with you on a chilly upstate Wednesday morning.
Yeah!
It's flannel weather, friends. Hooray.
Yeah, there's okay. I've never wore flannel on purpose.
Missing out.
Except for wearing a Jason Voorhees costume with some
and
flannel.
You didn't go, damn, this is nice. I should do this
no,
more often.
I didn't. I just flannel.
Missing out, buddy.
Yeah, I'm not a hipster.
You don't have to be a hipster. Lumberjacks wear flannel. Are they hipsters? No.
I've never met a
They're
lumberjack.
the definition of real
I've
men.
seen them on TV, but
Yeah,
I've
wearing
never met
flannel.
one. No, I've seen that they don't have much teeth, and I don't know why that is.
What?
Yeah, all the lumberjacks I've seen on TV have very little teeth.
I don't know how to respond to that.
So I don't know if they like chew on the trees or something. I don't get it, but they don't. I mean, that's,
Hashtag Team Flannel. Okay. Let's get some audio here on the radio program. Let's go to yesterday's presser of one Dabo Sweeney. He was, and this may shock you, asked about the phone call and the rant he went on regarding Tyler from Spartanburg.
which I was accused of being in the hallway
Yeah,
earlier.
it's pretty funny. The new conspiracy is not that Tyler was a plant. It's that Lonzo is Tyler. It's not. Okay? It's not. Lonzo would have been way funnier than that.
I don't know if you're going to pull it off though, you got to be straight up. Yeah, I would have had to went with a little more accent
100%.
for sure. Yeah, I couldn't.
100%.
Yeah.
That was not Lonzo. I can guarantee you that. So we played you yesterday the audio. If you haven't heard it, it's all over the internet. You can go find it. It's pretty simple to do. I'm going to start here with clip number 1 here, Lonzo. Dabo yesterday got asked, hey, man, you had the interaction. It's the talk of the town. National writers are talking about it. Local celebrities like Rob Brown are talking about it. What happened, Dabo? And he said this.
I mean, I had some idiot go Old Testament on me, and he got an Old Testament response.
Well,
what you just said.
What else is there to add? What else is there to add? I'm going to fight for this program.
Can I get some clarity?
That's why I know coaches take calls. That's why right there, because people hijack the phone call. They get it, that's why they want to hear themselves talk. That's why most coaches around the country don't take calls. That reason right there. They go to their, that's probably what we'll start doing next year. They go to the thing and they go, okay, Kathleen from Clemson. She wants to know, what's your favorite ice cream?
What a lie. Because I don't know of any coaches show that doesn't still take phone calls. I mean, I don't. Yeah. Okay.
So I got a couple of responses there. Number one.
He just went Kurt Russell. He did.
He did go a little Kurt Russell.
He did.
I got a couple of responses. Number one. He said he went Old Testament and he got an Old Testament answer back. Like, all right. I mean, you got to know if you're going to jump on the phone call and you're going to say some stuff like Tyler did, that there's a chance that coach is going to pop off. Now, more often than not, coaches just kind of go, oh, yeah, well, sorry you feel that way. We're trying to get better. We're trying to be a better program. We're trying to make life easier for you. But we're sorry we're disappointing you and we'll do better.
Listen, I mean, obviously he was in there with his boys. And they're all doing, no one wants to laugh louder than Dabo. No, I mean, there are things that probably will get you kicked out of the room. They screen those calls. They absolutely do. And I'm sure Tyler told them what he wanted to talk about. And you can't hijack a phone call. You know why? Because there's this little thing that you can do. It's called click, and they're gone. And you can, as the host, kind of shake your head, and the producer will go, oh, he's done with the call. And you can find a spot to fade them out. He let that thing go. It wasn't hijacked. He let it go so he could respond the way he did, which still pushes me more towards that this is a work.
So something interesting happened yesterday on the social media. I went hunting yesterday because I wanted to see.
You are wearing flannel.
I'm wearing flannel. I wanted to see if we could track down Tyler from Spartanburg. And so I put out a request on Twitter. I said, look, I don't know if anybody knows him. I don't know if he's on Twitter, but Tyler from Spartanburg, if you would like to come on the show, open phone line. All right. If you would like to respond to Dabo's response, you're welcome to do it on this show. And I hit him up with, somebody, so blah, blah, blah. Somebody found Tyler in Spartanburg on Twitter. He is on Twitter. And I went and looked through the tweets from Tyler in Spartanburg. And I was curious about it. Now, there is something very interesting that seems to have happened, though I acknowledge I'm not a computer scientist. I just happen to be a dork with social media. But since yesterday, when there were multiple tweets up on the account that is purportedly Tyler in Spartanburg, there were a bunch of that date back for like a year and a half tweets about firing Dabo Swinney, anti-Dabo Swinney rants, responses to a bunch of other people's tweets about how it's time to move on from Dabo, yada, yada, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The account is still up, but all of those tweets are now gone. It appears that he wiped Twitter from all those tweets.
So he's afraid for his safety, or
I have no idea.
I mean, because there's some people who get a little violent about these things.
I don't know is the answer. I won't speculate. Now, I will say that all of the replies are still up, just not the original content. So there's a tweet from October 28th where a guy said Clemson not taking a QB in the 24 class continues to look worse each game they play. And Tyler said, yet DJU was the problem, very sarcastically. There is a tweet that is up. Where did it go? Anyway, there's a bunch of them about Dabo where he's got some very what I like to refer to as smartcastic responses. Whatever. I reached out. If he wants to come on the show, the invite's open. He's got a tweet. I dropped him this morning, inviting him on the show after he was found. So The thought that Dabo had there of this is why most coaches don't take calls. I can't say most because I haven't listened to most coaches' shows. I can tell you Saban's takes calls, Mac Brown's takes calls, I believe Shane Beamer's takes calls, right? So that, but whatever, we're semantics. I'm not here to get upset about semantics with Dabo Swinney. I will say this. The little example he used at the end, and I know it was a throwaway, when he said, this is why most shows look at the screen and they go, okay, Debbie from Clemson wants to know what's your favorite ice cream. And he did the exact same tone of voice that I do when I'm trying to emphasize sarcasm. Hey, Rob, what's your favorite flavor of ice cream? Like, I get it. But here's the thing.
And no, that doesn't mean that I did the Tyler thing just because I'm around someone who does that tone all the time. So stop it.
So I don't have an issue with the run that Dabo's going on there. Here is what I will say. To me, and I said this on the show yesterday, I got some heat for it. I'm going to stick by it. The perception that the perception that Rob Brown holds is that Dabo does not want to be held accountable for what this program is doing today. Now, I understand that. The problem I have is not wanting to be held accountable for what is happening right now, but he certainly does want to be thanked and appreciated for what's happened the last 12 years, right? He doesn't want to be talked down to about a 4-4 program that frankly has no business being 4-4, but he does want you to thank him for what they did in 2018, right? He went on in this press conference, and you're about to hear it in a minute, for a while about, the one thing I've always said about Clemson that makes it so special is that the appreciation is greater than the expectations. I mean, yeah, but again, you set the expectations. I don't know about what he just said. Let's go to clip 1A. Dabo got asked by the media in attendance at the press conference. They said, all right, man, like you're starting to get questioned by national writers. They're starting to say that, your refusal to use the portal or your hiring practices, they're bad for Clemson. Is there any sort of revelation going on right now that's going to change the way that you behave as the head coach? And he said this.
Do what I think is best for the player, number one. I'm going to do what's best for the long term of our program. And then I also do what's best in the moment. But that's what I've always done. Ain't nothing gonna change. I know people say I don't listen to anything. I don't read anything. I really don't. I know what's going on in the world by the books that I get sent. I got a guy send me. I got 3 books on my thing this week. One said, "Living in the Eye of the Storm." The other one was, "I've screwed up. Now what?" I don't even remember. It's like that's what's. So I always know what's going on in the world based on the books people send me. But I mean, listen, I know who I am. I know whose I am. I've never flinched, and I ain't going to flinch now. And I'm sitting here, not because I've listened to all the people, all the criticism, all the people that want me to do this, hire this guy, hire that guy, hire that guy. If it don't work, I ain't got nobody to blame but myself. But I'm going to always do what I'm convicted in. And some people say I'm stubborn, and I say I'm convicted in my beliefs. And there ain't enough people that are convicted in their beliefs, in my opinion. But, that's another topic for another day.
All right. I'm going to lead with this. I have said before, I'll say again, some of you dismiss it. That's fine. I got a lot of respect for Dabo Swinney. Got a lot of respect because I absolutely believe what he just said. He's convicted, and he's going to stand by his convictions. And I respect that. But that last sentence, was that not the most okay boomerist thing you've ever heard?
I'm still stuck on the books. I'm still okay. What was the point you were trying to put? I don't know what's going on in the world except by books that people send me. Okay.
No, he said he does know what's going on in the world because of the books people send. Which is hilarious considering the 2 book titles that he mentioned, Living in the Eye of the Storm and Okay, I Screwed Up, What Now? That's what he said.
Yeah, no, that was his apology. That was what that was.
Like, I recognize this is bad?
That was his 2 book titles was his apology. That's as close as you're going to get to it, Tyler, and Clemson fans. That's as close as you're going to get to it.
My dude said, I know what's going on in the world based on books people give me. Like, I've got 2 right now. living in the eye of the storm, and oops, I screwed up, what now? Which is objectively hilarious to me, all right? And I do think there is, psychologically speaking, I absolutely think there is a little bit of, hey, I know it's bad. Listen to the book titles that I have here. I know it's bad.
Yeah. I mean, you slip things like that in there, and that's as close as you're going to get. And the thing is, he brought the eye of the storm on himself not too long ago. We didn't touch on the suicide watch thing and then the bandwagon thing. He's the one doing this. I mean, you're already getting scrutinized because your team's not playing well, but how you're reacting to it is causing everyone to look at it. I think nationally people would go, oh, look, they're having a bad season. But then you start getting these clips and you get like Bill Ryder comes on after us yesterday. He was on there talking about Dabo. When it's being talked about nationally, it's not because your team is mediocre. It's because of what you're saying in the media.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong. And I think that all of this combined yesterday, like, there comes a point for everybody where frustration takes over, right? And that point gets ever closer when you are failing at something. And I don't care what you say. Let me say this before I get to that point. First and foremost, I recognize, you recognize, we all recognize that if we're being 100, if we're keeping it honest betwixt you and I, how you felt about Dabo before the Tyler call is it is the basis for how you feel about the Tyler call. If you're a Dabo guy, if you're ride or die with Dabo and 4-4, you're like, it's a bad year, but whatever it happens, then you were listening going, hell yeah, coach, get him. Get him, coach. This is great. Go get him, coach. And if you have any criticism of Dabo, you're like, dude, that guy's melting down. He's melting down right now.
I'll say like I did yesterday, I'm disappointed. And you know what? I'm not a Clemson fan, but I'm disappointed in how he handled it because it's a bad look on what he says he represents. That bothers me.
I get it. And considering in that aspect, and like I said, in that aspect of your life, you and Dabo are, I'm assuming, close to being on the same page, if not on the same page, right? And so Dabo is a representative publicly and nationally of a portion of your life that is wildly important to you. So, and this is what I've said, like, Lonzo loves to take digs at Clemson. I have never heard him take a dig at Dabo Swinney personally. He might make a joke here and there just to rile up the Clemson fans, but he doesn't dig at Dabo personally. And I actually, like I said, I truly believe Lonzo was impacted by Dabo because Dabo is supposed to be representative of this large portion of Lonzo's life on a national level. And then he goes off and he talks like this, right? And he drops curse words on the radio about it. That's a big deal from that aspect of your life. So I get it. But like I said, the other flip of the coin for me, the other side of the coin for me on this is Tyler did kind of come at Dabo a little bit personally. It wasn't a respectful football conversation over football disagreements. It was, hey, dog, we're paying you a lot of money. We expect more. And I can see that being taken as a bit personal. Hence, Dabo getting a little personal on the fire back, right? But that wasn't all that was said. There's one more clip. It's a little bit longer. So when we come back from this break, Lonzo and I are going to play another round of Hold Up. We're going to listen to the bit longer audio from Dabo because there are 2 or 3 things he said in this clip that I absolutely must address. And we will do that when we come back. I am Rob Brown. Lonzo's on the 1s and 2s. The Rob Brown Show rolls on after this. It is the Fan Upstate.
I don't get that. Why is that doing that?
In a game billed as a battle between the two top picks in the draft, it's defense that rules. Ball comes out. It's picked up by Will. Panthers get it over. They got the ball at the 27-yard line of the quarterback. It held a high-powered Houston offense to just 13 points.
Is the mouse for the TV on your side? Yes. I figured you just hit the thing hard enough that okay.
Was that up there the whole time?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Jackson says the win shows what this team is about.
Resilience, man. It's all us not giving up. It's all us knowing that we have to stay Monday.
Dude, it's too cold to be out on the bike.
Bro.
No, it was a bicycle. But dude,
Oh, not a motorcycle?
dude was riding with his hands in his pocket.
Yeah.
So
Fly around, man. It's a great feeling, man. I definitely can get used to this.
Ivan A. Schropp on the Carolina Panthers Radio Network, presented by Boris Jenkins.
So, not a great performance, but really.
I'm just a critic of BetQL. The Pac-12 continues to be the best conference in America as it enters the final weeks of existence. This weekend, number 5 Washington and Heisman candidate Michael Penix Jr. visit USC and their Heisman winner Caleb Williams. Washington is a 3.5-point favorite because USC's defense has been so bad. I love
So bad.
Look for the Huskies to cover, maybe sprinkle a little bit on their team total over. I'm Tristan Crick, helping you keep the books and bet smarter with BetQL. Download the BetMGM app today.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now, and the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The Gables at Pelham is a continuum care retirement community. Assisted living, memory care, rehabilitation, and skilled nursing all under one roof. An MD will visit twice a week, and physical therapy, speech therapy, and occupational therapy are on site. And for socialization, our Director of Activities has a master's degree in social work and has been at the Gables for many years. We have a full calendar of activities for all of our residents. In addition, our Director of Memory Care has been there for many years as well. To stop by for a visit, give us a call at 864-286-6600.
Mad World Haunted Attraction is now
The standard for flannel is Al Borland. Al Borland was an icon.
you are like the opposite of Al Borland.
No, I'm much more Tim the Toolman Taylor. That's a fact. It's not even one I hide from. I accept it. I accept my reality.
That's madworldattractions.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know about you, but I get real sick of having to deal with constant joint pain. I'm a golfer, still my knees, my hips, and that is why I am here to tell you all about QC Kinetics. Hey, it's Rob Brown. Listen, QC Kinetics uses advanced regenerative medicine to restore, repair, damage your tissue, giving you your back, so your hips, shoulders, elbows, whatever. They can all be treated with natural biologics from your own body. So if you are tired of steroid shots that don't work, or if you're trying to avoid surgery maybe, then call QC Kinetics right now to schedule your free consultation and learn about these exciting new cutting-edge treatments for pain caused by arthritis or injury with no drugs, no pain meds, and no downtime. It's an all-natural treatment that can get you lasting relief. And people in the area are raving about the results. Be the next one to do that, okay? Call right now. Appointments are available. 864-448-3772. 864-448-3772. That's QC Kinetics in Greenville and Asheville. 864-448.
So is the flannel all you wore? No jacket?
No jacket today. Although, also from Costco, I did just get a super dope brown leather outdoorsy jacket that might come into play tomorrow.
Did you get it tight or did you get it baggy?
I'd say it's in the middle. Not really either. I'm not in a spot where I can wear tight clothes right now.
Well, because leather is not that warm on a cold day, and so you could wear your flannel underneath your leather. That's all I'm saying. You know,
it's loose enough to wear a shirt under it.
You gonna try it out Friday night?
Yes.
Get you any gloves?
I own gloves.
Okay.
The problem is I don't own brown gloves. The jacket is brown, and I own black gloves.
You will be judged in that press box. Them coaches don't.
The height of fashion, Duncan, South Carolina.
Yeah, the coach is gonna look at you like, no, take it off.
Bro, seriously?
Yeah.
Black gloves, brown jacket. You loser.
That might fly in Florida, boy, but not around here. Trey, I'm not a baseball guy, but I'll go with Pete Rose because when I was growing up, obviously he was playing. And he's in the WWE Hall of Fame. And then basketball, you'll have to wait on that.
All right, so we're continuing on from Dabo's press conference yesterday. And we played you some of the shorter clips, right? We had the clip about, all right, why did you pop off? And he said, I had a caller come Old Testament at me, so I went Old Testament on him. He said that this is why coaches don't take calls, even though they do. And he said, next year we may just start taking a phone call and saying, what is your question? What is your statement? What do you want Coach Sweeney to know? So that way they can kind of control the story. And I'll tell you, one of the things I've always appreciated about coaches who take those calls is giving the fans the opportunity to hold their coach accountable for what is happening. Now, I appreciate it more when you get callers who know ball and actually ask ball questions as opposed to just generic, broad, overwhelming stuff.
I am curious if the call screener still works there.
Well, here's the thing, and I know that I think Don Munson was on Mark's show yesterday. I'm going to go back and pull it and listen to it, which you can as well at thefanupstate.com. Drop down the podcast menu, and you can catch up with every segment of Offsides with Mark, Ryan, and Diesel, or every segment of the Rob Brown radio program with Rob and Lonzo. It doesn't sound like it. Here's the thing. I don't think anybody in the program looks at that and goes, what a bad look. Like I said, I think your feelings on Dabo and his reaction are predicated by how you felt about Dabo going into that call, right? It's like the Pete Rose discussion. At the end of the day, you feel how you feel. I feel how I feel. We've heard every argument, and nothing's going to change it. You're ingrained. And likely, your feelings on any further discussions in regard to that topic are going to be viewed through the prism of how you already feel and skewed that way.
If you are a Clemson fan, you already feel like, or maybe you don't realize that you're kind of made fun of a little bit nationally. Little old Clemson. We've heard that so many times. And then this happens and you get national attention for that and you sound like little old Clemson.
See, I look at it this way. Even Clemson fans are split right now. There are some that are going, everything he has done, he gets the pass, and I think it's great that he popped off on a fan who called in to complain publicly. And then there's a much smaller Clemson fan base who are like, yeah, he needs to be held accountable. This is not good enough, and they think it was bad. It's a polarizing response.
I get
how you felt about him before the call likely determines how you feel about him after.
I get why we have to talk about it, but nationally, you're looking at it like this is a mid team. That's what they are. They're 4-4. I mean, this is the only way they're going to get talked about is because of something like this. Would you rather just not be talked about at all and just come back and have a better season next year?
I think they are being talked about as the single biggest disappointment in college football this year. There were people like, I think it was Ryan Clark. There were people predicting, RG3, I know for a fact, predicted Clemson in the playoffs this year. They might not make a bowl game. Forget a playoff game, a bowl game at this rate. So I think you're almost kind of happy that this is happening because it takes the attention off the team. With that being said, let's go to clip 1B here. Let's go to clip 1B here. This is Dabo went on a bit of a longer rant towards the end of the presser. And this is kind of a culmination of the discussion about the Tyler phone call as well as everything that's going on. Lonzo and I are going to play Hold Up. We're going to play the clip. And at any point, either Lonzo and I can say, hold up, stop the tape, and respond to what Dabo just said. Let's get it started.
No, I'm talking about the loud minority. I mean, most of our fans are amazing. They really are. They really are. But it's the loud minority that really have no clue how hard it is.
All right, hold up. That loud minority has been there your entire career. Why are they just now suddenly starting to get to you? Maybe it's because you built the program into something that was a championship program. Now it would appear to be, at least for one season or a couple seasons, on the downside of that. Now you suddenly hear those voices. Those voices have always been there. They have.
So every program has that loud minority. Every program has that loud minority. That's just a reality.
It's starting to grow on me, by the way.
That's the gimmick. Every program has their loud minority. It's just that when you're winning championships and making playoff appearances, what are they going to complain about? What in the world do you have to about when your team is kicking everybody's ass? And the answer is nothing. But now it's not. See, here's the thing. And I think this is what Dabo's not getting. There is a difference between we went from consistently 12-0 and 11-1 and making the playoffs to now we're 10-2. Now we're sitting there where, Alabama and Louisville are in the top 10 and we're just not quite championship caliber. That's not you. You're 4-4. Not only are you 4-4, you're 4-4, and everything from 4-8 to 6-6 is on the table. There is a big difference between dropping from 12-0 to 10-2 and dropping from 12-0 to 4-8, which is a real possibility. But let's keep going.
And again, we've won so much. And then listen, that can creep into your players too, right? I mean, because it's that rat poison of how good you are and what you're supposed to do and this and that, and then all of a sudden it doesn't go the way you want. It can creep in both ways. So you're always trying to fight against that. Just like now, it's all all the neck. You got to block that stuff. That's part of it.
Hold up. Can I tell you what I just heard? And again, I'm trying my best not to be hypercritical. I'm trying to be regular critical. Dude, does this not sound like Dabo kind of blaming the fans for the team being bad a little bit?
Oh, he blamed the players too.
Yeah,
because it's creeped into the players.
He's like,
so,
y'all.
So apparently, the best is the standard is not true because that's what you want your players to expect, and then they okay.
One of the biggest tools of bad people is the innate ability to blame everybody else for the decisions that they make. Right? I've seen this happen before. Oh, I did this thing because society is bad, and it's like, yeah, but what you did is bad too. You don't get the pass for being bad because of society. Again, to me, the big word right now is accountability. And fans are simply asking for accountability for the worst program or the worst performance of the program since 2010. And now, and again, maybe I'm being hypercritical. If I am, Clemson fans, hit me up, 844-326-3663, or text us on the carpros.com text line 71307. It feels like a little bit. Dabo just said we would be better, but the toxicity of the negative fans has seeped into the locker room and started to drag us down.
Rat poison.
Which, by the way, very Saban-esque take right there.
I was going to say, that's been used before.
Yes, it has. All right, let's keep going.
You've got to be able to do that, and this is a great opportunity to teach. But listen, I've said many times, I've had people ask me many times, hey, what's so special? And I've always said the difference in Clemson and a lot of places is that some places it is all expectation, and here there is an appreciation.
Okay, really hold up. I'm so tired of that phrase, dude. I'm so tired of that phrase. I really am. Like, I get it. You want to be appreciated for what you've done. I think everybody, a lot of people have been in a relationship like this before, right? You've been in a relationship where you're getting nagged and you're getting hounded because you didn't do this and you didn't do this. And you're like, yo, I did 50 things and you are dialed in on the one I forgot, right? I vacuumed, I mopped, I swept, I cleaned off the oven, I cleaned off the stove top, I wiped down the mirrors, I Windexed all the windows, I vacuumed, I did this, 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 and then you come home and you see my socks on the floor. And you rag me about the socks for an hour, and you overlook the 50 things I did around the house, and you're going to beat me up for an hour over the one thing I did not do. That's a bummer, dude. It's very, very frustrating. I understand. I've been there. I've done that. So I get where he's coming from. It does suck a little bit that you've won 2 natties. You went to 6 straight playoff appearances. You took Clemson, which was a historically mid at best program, and you won them a pair of natties. And now all of a sudden it feels like they are turning on you. But the reality here is you coined best is the standard. You were the one who said this is what we should accept. This is what we should strive for. Those fans are just following your lead. Like, all right, Clemson fans, what y'all should do is this Saturday, you should hang a big-ass banner around the stadium that says, thank you for the natties, Dabo. Make it every bit as big as the banner that hangs on the practice field that says best is the standard. Don't even be sarcastic. Hang a big banner that says, thank you for the natties. So he sees that you appreciate it, but that also you're not good with being 4-8.
And, I've got great appreciation for our fans and because they're amazing. I mean, it's amazing what we have here at Clemson. But, a lot of the people that do all the complaining, they're just part of the problem. I mean, they really are. Why would? Geez. Why, if you're a recruit sitting out there, why would you? These people just they rip your coaches. Everybody's terrible. It doesn't matter what you've done. Like it doesn't matter. But everybody can have a bad moment. I mean, name a coach, name a program in basketball, football, whatever, who hasn't had a challenging time. Is there one? Is Coach K, would he be considered one of the best basketball coaches? Did he have a few bad years along the way, maybe? Maybe didn't make the tournament. I don't know. About Roy Williams. Did he have any bad years? How about Nick Saban? Has he had any bad years? I mean, he's 72 now. He's probably had a few bad years at Michigan State, LSU, Toledo, maybe. I don't know. He hadn't had many at Alabama. And I just think sometimes, again, and that's what I've always tried to fight against. I've always tried to fight against that, man. Just
all right, hold up. Man, I had to look. I had to look because I was curious. I had to look. Nick Saban's worst years. 95 at Michigan State, he was 6-5. 96, he was 6-6. 97, he was 7-5. 98 at Michigan State, he was 6-6. The year after that, 9-2. First year at LSU, he was 8-4. Third year at LSU, he was 8-5. Fourth year at LSU, or fifth year at LSU, he was 9-3. First year at Alabama, 2007, he was 7-6. He has never won since then fewer than 10 games in a season. I'm going to tell you right now, the difference, Zoe, between this team finishing 6-6 and 4-8, which I think is on the table, the difference is astronomical in the reception, right? Saying a bad thing, you understand, this is like saying somebody, you're dealing with a weight problem. And you're like, dude, this is not a weight problem. You're 800 pounds. That's not a weight problem. That's a massive health issue. There's a difference between I'm a little pudgy and I can't walk.
See,
Big difference.
What this reminds me of, I believe it was Rocky 3, the one with Clubber Lang in it, where you find out that Mickey has been protecting Rocky all this time. So Rocky thinks he's fighting, number one contenders, but he's not really. Dabo has surrounded himself, it would appear, with people who are basically yes man. So he doesn't hear all the negatives. Well, one of the negatives got through and he doesn't know how to deal with it. Those negatives have been there. They've been there every year. Even when they're winning championships, there are fans that are going to be critical. That's what fans do. But he's acting like this is something new, and it's not. Well, he's just hearing it for the first time, and this is how he's reacting. Maybe that's why people have kept him from hearing this, because they knew he would act like this.
I will say this. I am very attentive, receptive, tuned into criticisms of my work, of my show, of my program, and all the things that we're doing. I'm very receptive to criticism. And I'm going to tell you right now, Zoe, when you and I come home with crystal trophies that say we got the best show in the state of South Carolina, those volume buttons go down to a 0 on people criticizing. I'm like, even if it's only for a little while, right now, I don't need to hear it, because the people who do this have validated what we are doing on the air. But the year that we didn't win one, it was in my ear. I was right there. I'm like, yeah, we suck. I suck. I'm bad. I'm bad at this. The show's bad. I can't believe I have a job doing this. I get it, and it can be wildly.
See, I don't, because I wasn't there with you as far as that goes. I think we deserve to be there, and we proved it the next year. So I do think that it's one thing to tune out the noise, and it's another thing for everybody else to shield you from it to a degree that when you actually hear what some genuine person thinks, that you don't know how to react.
How much time is left in that clip?
Couple minutes.
Oh, really? Oh, was that long? I thought it was like 2 minutes. Whatever. Here's the point. We can hustle through it. All right. Here's the thing. Dabo, it's not on the fans, bro. You've won 4 games. You might not win another one. Yes, their expectations are higher. You set them. Let's take a break. We can address more of this when we come back on the Rob Brown Show with the Fan Upstate.
So I guess we'd have to tune into the CW to find out, but I wonder how many Tyler signs will be out in the crowd.
They are on ABC this week.
Ooh.
Big day, big day.
So that's national, so they can't stop things from being on TV.
Here's the thing.
They can't stop Tyler from being interviewed by, whoever the show is for them.
At the beginning of the year, I 100%. At the beginning of the year, I 100% thought College Game Day was going to be in Clemson, South Carolina this weekend. Notre Dame at Clemson should have been a game day show.
It's all I can do to not have fun with your slip, but I won't. I'm going to go over here and eat the rest of my sandwich. Whether they show the signs on TV or not, people will take pictures of them and post them.
I will say this. ABC will absolutely, if they feel it's in their best interest, come over and tell you you cannot hold a sign up. And I know that because it literally happened to me. Well, it was ESPN. Do you remember when there was the big dust up between Craig James' kid and Mike Leach?
Yes.
So because a lot of us thought that the way that was handled by Craig James was just absolutely crappy, starting a bunch of rumors, the internet decided in an act of absolute comedy rebellion that we were going to start a rumor, and I absolutely consider myself as part of the group. We were going to starting rumors about Craig James, right? Just like he did about Mike Leach. And The internet decided that a funny rumor to start would be that while he was at SMU, Craig James murdered 5 ladies of the evening, right? It was very random, and it absolutely took off.
That's a little extreme.
It was very extreme, but that was the point, because what he said Mike Leach did that ended up being not the truth was also very extreme and basically cost Mike Leach a job.
True, but
So the
no
point,
death involved in those.
right? No, there was no death involved. Yes, SMU. Like, obviously, Craig James did not murder 5 prostitutes. That's what you go to the extreme for the sake of satire. Anyway, that took off for a while, and we were having a blast. And the hashtag that started popping up was hashtag Craig James, hashtag remember the 5. I went to a college game day and carried a big sign because I was very into branding at the time, in the very early days of Twitter, that had my Twitter handle across the bottom, and it said hashtag remember the 5 across it. And I got on game day, and Deadspin, which was huge at the time, picked it up and put me on the front page of Deadspin. I picked up I don't remember, 200-300 followers in 10 minutes. And within 30 seconds of the camera panning over that sign, 2 very large individuals in ESPN shirts came over, and they were like, you have to lose the sign or you can leave. And I was like, you can't tell me what signs I can and can't hold. And they were like, oh, no, we definitely can. And I was not about to fight these gentlemen for it.
So you didn't go freedom of speech and go full on.
Nope.
Let's do this.
Because it turns out that apparently, to some degree, when game day sets up and they establish their perimeter around the set, the universities traditionally give them autonomy over that area, and they act with the authority of the university that owns the property.
Because they want them to come back.
Mhm.
So, yeah. Don't know if you can hear me, Diddy, but thank you. I appreciate the backing. Not to mention all the stuff that was said after Ohio State got their revenge on them.
Brought to you by Pfizer. Are you a business owner in need of financing? Then you need Swish Funding, the better way to get the funding you need. Our simple application process takes just minutes, with funding as soon as 1 business day. At Swish Funding, we focus on your business cash flow, not your personal credit score. And we're ready to help with funding from $5,000 to $5 million. If you've been in business for 1 year and have monthly revenue of at least $25,000, you can get the affordable funding you need with no collateral at swishfunding.com. That's SWISH funding.com.
Hi, Discover. It's Jennifer Coolidge. I just want to thank you for the cash back on my groceries.
No problem. Discover Cashback Debit gives everyone cash back. Anything else I can help with?
Do you like asparagus sorbet?
Eligibility in terms of discover.com/cashback debit. Discover Bank, member FDIC.
From the Ingles Market Studio,
State. 97.7 FM Green Bay. 97.1 FM Spartanburg.
live from the free
At 71307.
All right, screw it. Let's finish up this sound, because I remember there's something he says right at the end that I definitely want to address. Alonzo and I are playing Hold Up with the audio from Dabo's presser yesterday. We left off wherever we left off. Let's keep going.
Don't let the expectation become greater than the purpose of what you do. You know, because when that happens, you lose your joy in what you do. That doesn't mean you have to be happy. All right.
All right, hold up. Speaking of losing your joy, Tyler caused you to lose your joy. That didn't look joyful to me, unless, of course, that you take joy in belittling others and coming at them angrily.
I also want to point out
There are some people who do enjoy that. So
100%. Some people find their joy in being joyless.
or seeing other people
Yeah.
being brought down to the level that they think they deserve to be on.
Correct. And I absolutely agree with Dabo. One of the biggest things that ever happened in my life is the day that I realized that I get to control my attitude, not other people. Right? If I walk into a bar and I'm having the time of my life and somebody walks up and they're like, dude, you're a loser. All right, bro. Sorry you feel that way. I'm going to party on, Garth. I agree with Dabo on that. But again, he also says, I don't know if he just said it or if he's about to get to it, but he says, I've always said that we find the happiness in the wins. And it's like, we can't even do that. It's like, bro, you've won. What? Let's keep going.
I mean, but I've always said the fun is in the winning.
Okay, hold up. Dude, what? I've always said the fun is in the winning. And he's about to go, and now we're not even having fun. Right. What?
Whose fault is that, Rob?
Yeah. Let's keep going.
It's gotten to a point. That's why this is a good reset. It's a good pruning for everybody, right? Because it's gotten to a point here that even when you win, people are miserable.
All right. So when you prune, you cut stuff off.
Yep.
So is he getting ready to fire some people? Is he going to get rid of some players? I mean, what's being pruned here? Victories? Is he pruning victories?
No,
he doesn't want victories anymore, so he's pruning them.
He is saying that because of the L's, they are pruning the obnoxious fans. That's what he's saying.
Oh, okay.
He's saying because we are not a playoff team, we are pruning the 1.5% that we don't like around here. That's what he's saying. And again, it's like, dude, the problem is you get to a point where you start lumping people who have a genuine, legitimate complaint in with who you think are bad people. You know what it's akin to? I'm gonna risk getting myself in trouble here. It is akin to the people who start to label entire other groups of people based on their bad experience with a couple of people in that group, right? It is the woman who has a couple of bad experiences with men, and then she's got no problem telling every man she meets after that. It is the guy. I was guilty of this. I had a bad relationship with a woman. I swore off women. I'm like, they're all terrible. They're all terrible people. Women are evil. They're man-eaters. Doho, there she goes.
You have an entire audience of people who also hate beef. So it's okay.
Exactly. I had a bad experience with a woman, and I was like, screw them. They all suck. It turns out that's not true. The majority of them are awesome. But you take the little bit and you let them be a reflection on the whole, and that's a problem. Let's keep going.
So now the fun's not in the win. The relief is in the winning. Shouldn't be a relief to win. It ought to be fun to win. And so, I know where Clemson was 15 years ago. I know right where it was. And what's happened in this program is historic. And what will continue to happen if we can get out of our own way, we'll and I'm talking about us here in the program here, what's going to continue to happen.
You can't not hear it now. You don't have to
so
stop
it's hard.
it. I'm
When
just
you're
saying
taking
you can't
everybody's
not hear
best
that.
shot for 12 plus years. I mean, it's hard. And listen, we've done a great job. There's not many people that have been as consistent as coaches or as a program in our world. It's very few walking the planet. So it's been great, man. We've had a great opportunity to teach a lot of lessons, and this will be another great opportunity. There's opportunity in every single difficulty that you have in life, and this is a great opportunity for us to teach, for us to all reset, and then let's get back to the work, man. I mean, I've said that when I got this job, you got to be all in. And we got too many people half in. They're in when you win.
So couple of final thoughts before we put this to bed and get on to everything else in the next hour. Number one, I don't hate the walk-off line. I absolutely do think that some college football fans have to realize only one team gets to win the championship. Only 4 teams even get the chance to go play in a college football playoff game. The reality statistically is that you are going to not make the playoffs more often than you do make the playoffs. A 6-year run is impressive. And Dabo is absolutely right. You should absolutely be grateful for how much you got to experience in such a short time. 99% of college football programs wish they had a 6-year run like Clemson did. But on the flip side, the difference between we didn't make the playoffs because we're 10-2, and we didn't make a bowl game. That's the difference between, I fell down and scraped my knee, and I fell off the edge and into the Grand Canyon, right? One of those things requires just a gentle little kiss and a Band-Aid, and the other, you're dead. It's a big difference. It's a massive difference, right? It is, and I think this is where the conversation gets lost. I don't think people are upset, Dabo, that you've lost a couple of games. I think people are upset as to how big of a fall this is. This is not, we went from 12-0 or 11-1 to 11-1 or 10-2. This is, there are some of us that don't think you're going bowling this year. Do you see the difference? Do you see the dramatic difference between those realities? One is falling down and skinning your knee, and one is falling off the edge of a canyon. The consequences of it are very, very different and very, very serious. Hey, Lonzo, you should treat the people to one of those delightful little sports flashes we like to do.
And now for something completely different. The Texas Rangers are a win away from winning the World Series after taking down the Diamondbacks last night, 11-7. The series continues tonight at 8:03 in Arizona. The NFL trade deadline has come and gone, and the Carolina Panthers appear to be happy with their roster, as is, making no trades before time ran out. NFC South rivals Atlanta, New Orleans, Tampa, all elected to stand pat as well. The Panthers host the Colts this Sunday at 4:05. The first college football playoff rankings are out, and it is not Georgia that tops the list. It is the Ohio State Buckeyes that sit at number 1, with Georgia checking in at 2nd, Michigan at 3rd, Florida State at 4th, and Washington at 5. Tune in Thursday, which is tomorrow at 7:30 for Thursday Night Football, as the Titans take on the Steelers on your home for the NFL, The Fan, Upstate.
The Upstate Holiday Light Show at their new location, District Park, at the intersection of 123 and 153, opens Thanksgiving night. Enjoy the magic of the season with family, neighbors, and friends. For more information, visit upstatelights.com.
As
So I think Dabo needs to adopt the Bill Belichick method of doing press conferences because Bill doesn't get into this kind of trouble. Now you may not like it. You may think it's boring. You may think he's abrasive and annoying, but Bill doesn't have to deal with stuff like this. Or you could go the exact opposite, which he may be heading towards, and go with the Popovich method of just being a flat-out jerk. All the deals. It was so good. Yeah, the guy who voiced this had a lot of fun. Can I do the do again? I'm not sure that, the feeling was conveyed in the proper way. By the way, sometimes I just ramble when Rob's in the room, see if I can make his eye twitch, that I know if he's actually listening to me or not.
Victor Wembanyama, all 7'4".
Oh, you saw it?
They show up as slender.
Oh,
man.
it's freaky.
Awesome.
No, that
Awesome.
is, if that dude walks in like that, it's like, nope, he does exist. I'm out. Imagine dark room and he's coming in and no.
And he is a very slender man.
Yes, he is.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The final hour of the Rob Brown Show on a Wednesday morning starts right now. Welcome back. This is the Fan Upstate. I am Rob Brown. The great Malonzo's on the ones and twos. If you'd like to be a part of the radio broadcast, there are multiple ways for you to do just that. First off, the fan phone is available. 844-326-3663. 844-326-3663. Second off, the carpros.com text line is up and running at 71307. 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-M. We'll read them on the air. Texter said, if the Gamecocks beat Clemson and get into a bowl game and Clemson doesn't, they might fire him. I'm going to go ahead and say, let me make abundantly clear. I don't want to spend any more time on the Dabo press conference. We pretty much hammered that pretty good last hour. But they're not firing Dabo Swinney over this year. If they don't win another game, they still will not fire Dabo Swinney, and they shouldn't. It would be silly to do so. That would be the biggest panic mistake of their life. But what I will say is that there would be some of those uncomfortable conversations we like to talk about. Hey, Dabo, we feel like maybe the fans have a point. Maybe some of the things you have refused to do and participate in, we're going to need you to. We're going to need you not to talk the NIL stuff anymore. We're going to need you to use the portal. We're going to need you to do the things that everybody else is doing because we feel the competitive disadvantage has now manifested into the season we just had, and we can't do that again.
See, I agree with everything you're saying, but I think the conversation starts off with lay off the fans. The fans are IPTAY members. They're the reason why you have your salary. Lay off the fans.
Let's
even the because there will come a point where he keeps coming at them that they will say, you know what, no more, and it has nothing to do with the record. I can't handle him coming at me anymore. Yeah, I'm disappointed that my team is doing bad. I should be able to voice that, but he's going to degrade me and come at me because I'm doing that. Screw Dabo. I'll take my money elsewhere.
So there's a couple of things here. Number one, I know that there are a lot of IPTAY members, and I know that as with
there's definitely
school,
a lot of IPTAY stickers out on the road for sure.
As with every other school, the most powerful people are absolutely boosters. I am also going to say, like every other school, and I've been around a lot of them, the overwhelming majority of fans, and I would argue the larger concentration of the 1.5% that Dabo loves to talk about.
Yeah, where did he come up with that number?
He just made it up.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
The overwhelming majority of fans and the overwhelming majority of the 1.5% fans that Dabo complains about, regardless of the numbers, those aren't the people that are in control of the situation. The majority of fans are not boosters. They're just not. Go to any college football stadium. The majority of people in the stadium are not the boosters. And on top of that, I don't know what the lowest level of membership is to be an IPTE, right? I don't know what the lowest number is. I know I've got a buddy of mine who goes in for $6,000 a year as an IPTE guy, right? I don't know what the lowest number is to be considered a member, but I promise you, fans who are giving $1,000 or $2,000 a year, they got no power. They're appreciated. They're needed in large numbers, but they don't have any power. The power are the boosters who are signing checks over every year that have 7 figures on it. The power are the folks who are given $1 million or more. That is a group that is relatively isolated, but they're the ones that have the direct number to Graham Neff's office. They're the ones that have a direct line to the top of the athletic department. They're the ones who can call and go, hey, dude, I'm not good. I'm not good with where we are. And if we go 4-8 again, you're not getting my Millie next year. Those are the fans that have all the power. And I don't know where those fans are. I don't know where they stand in relation to Dabo. I don't know where they stand in relation to the progress or the lack thereof of the program. I don't know. I tell you this, if they get a group of 10 or 12 or $15 million plus boosters that all go together, and this has happened at schools before. If they get a group of 10, 12, 15 who go in for 2, 3, 5, 10, 12, 15 million a year, that all go, he's gone or we gone, that's when Dabo's in trouble. But I will say, those are the type of boosters that not just make that phone call, but outwardly say, we've made the phone call. Those are the boosters that get on the horn with beat writers who cover the program and go, hey, there's a group of boosters worth about $50 million a year to the university. We all want to move on. And that story has traction. Tyler and Spartanburg got traction not because of Tyler and Spartanburg, but because of the reaction from Dabo Swinney. That's a Dabo story, not a Tyler story. That could have been Tyler and Spartanburg or Jeff in Greenville or Bill and Duncan or Todd and Lyman. It could have been Chrissy in Clemson, whoever. It could have been anybody. The story was not Tyler. The story was Dabo. If Dabo takes that phone call, Tyler's like, Coach, we're giving you $11.5 million a year, and you're this, and you're that, and you're not, and you are, and you're this, and you're that. And Dabo goes, hey, Tyler, I appreciate the phone call. I understand your concern with the state of the program. I promise you the weight of this program is on me more than anybody else. And I promise you that we are working as hard as we can work. I promise you that we are doing everything we can do to fix it. Thanks for the call. Have a nice day. We never talk about it. It is not what Tyler said or that Tyler said it. Tyler is with respect to Tyler. And again, the open invite for him to come on the show stands. The story is not about Tyler and Spartanburg or Jimmy in Greenville or Billy and Duncan or anybody else. The story is about Dabo's reaction and nothing else. The fans become the story when the top-notch boosters get involved. The fans become the story when there are $40+ million of booster donations that are suddenly hanging under the guillotine. That's when the stories start coming out about unhappy fans and the unhappy fans mattering, because those unhappy fans are the ones of whom that $10+ million a year to Dabo, that's where that money comes from. That's the ones who are getting it done. So as of now, we haven't heard that. As of now, there's not that collective of big name, big time, big funding boosters that have called Graham Neff and said, yeah, we're real close to telling you guys to bleep off and we're out. They're not there yet. But there is a point that they will get there. And if they do get there, this is a very different conversation. So we'll see how it plays out. Hunt GPT texts the show. He said, I love being told by a 2-time national champion that I shouldn't expect a win from his teams, but when they do, I should really appreciate the out of it. Yeah, again, to me, the single most critical mistake that Dabo has said is to lean on this appreciation, not expectation. No, I have expectations. I have expectations of competency. I have expectations of competitiveness. I have expectations of some wins over some teams. And again, that's not even the big mistake. The big mistake is all of that in the face of best is the standard being the slogan for the team. You don't get to say best is the standard and then you are way not the best. And then turn around and go, appreciation is the standard. No, it's not. Or, I mean, it is now. It is now that you're not the best. Lonzo and I have said for a while, our goal, our number one goal every year is to get invited to that awards banquet in August. That's our goal. I have said for years, it's not to win it every year because I know that's not how the real world works, but it is to be invited. It is to be one of the few shows that get invited to go to Columbia and go to that awards ceremony. That's the goal. We didn't get that one year. And I was pissed. Excuse my French. I was furious about that.
Watch your mouth, Dabo.
I know. Sorry about that. What I meant was I was about that. I was furious. You can ask Lonzo. It drove me for the last year. Because that was not the standard that I set. I didn't come in here the next week after we didn't get the invitation and go, you know what the standard is? Let's be the best in Greenville, right? Like, let's limit the scope. Let's be the best in. Let's start with being the best in Greenville. No, that ain't it, boss. That ain't it. That's not the standard I set. And when somebody said, nobody said this to me, but if somebody came up to me and said, Rob, it's not good enough, I would have gone, I agree. I agree with you. I agree that this is not good enough. I wouldn't have said, why don't you appreciate the fact that Lonzo and I already have a trophy? Why don't you appreciate the fact that we've already won this thing? Why don't you appreciate the fact that we've already gone to Columbia? I would go, no, you're right. I did not do good enough job the last 12 months. It just was not good enough. And I'm going to drive that. So we'll see. Texture said, Rob, do you just say now and Lonzo beeps it? No, I just went ahead and gave myself a beep button.
Yeah, if I dump, you will not hear anything. It will just make it disappear from the airwaves.
Right. So I gave myself a beep, a manual button to use when I feel the situation calls for it. All right. So there we go. I feel like that's enough of that. You set the standard.
It's enough of it now. We'll see if Dabo thinks it's enough of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, I went through, I listened to that press conference. It was like 23 minutes. The whole thing's on YouTube if you want to go watch it. I watched it last night. I pulled the audio this morning. And like I said, the reality is I stand somewhere between Dabo and Tyler. On one hand, the frustration's justified. Dabo is treating this as if this team is going to be 10-2, right? He's treating it as if this team is going to be 10-2 and just outside of the playoffs. You're not. I right now today genuinely believe the best this team can end is 6-6. The best. this team can end as 6-6. I told Lonzo to start the show today. There is a possible reality that Clemson ends this year 4-8. There is a possible reality that Clemson ends the year 4-8 and has a worse record than South Carolina. And if I ask you right now, Zoe, who had the tougher schedule to play this year, South Carolina or Clemson, what's the answer?
I could have answered that at the beginning of the season, but it's definitely South Carolina.
100%. It's not even a debate.
And it's not because they play in the SEC. It's just they are definitely playing better teams.
And by the way, all the best teams on the roster, all on the road. At Georgia, at North Carolina, neutral site game. At North Carolina, at Missouri. These are all away games. So if despite all of the discussion, if Clemson ends this year 4-8 and South Carolina ends at 5-7, or if Clemson ends this year 5-7 and South Carolina ends at 6-6, you don't think there's going to be some discussion going on? Especially if South Carolina ends one game better with a win over Clemson? That is where the feet go to the fire real quick like. I have sympathy for Dabo Swinney. I absolutely do. I understand what he's saying. But at the same time, it is not a good call to pretend that this is a 10-2 year and that's outside of the standard. It's not 10-2. I'd be like, yeah, what do you want? You can't go 11-1 or 12-0 every year. It's real hard to do. But to pretend that 4-8, 5-7, 6-6 is the same as 10-2 is also equally ridiculous. All right, I said we weren't going to do it. We did it anyway. Let's see. A couple of texts on the carpros.com text line 71307. Texter says, I love the bleep button. I do too.
I'm not I'm on the fence about it.
Yeah, I know.
Because I'm still concerned about, tones causing things to.
I mean, it's in for 3 days now. Like, I feel like we're good now.
Okay. I still have some unease.
We're gonna find out.
Yeah.
If it's on me, if so. Texter said, I appreciate the button. It makes the show more relatable. I work on a construction site and there are all over the place. Well, first off, welcome to the Armada, baby. The blue collar Armada is real. We are a show, Lonzo, for the working man.
I think you need to tell those potty mouths they need to clean it up.
That. Do your thing, man. Do your thing. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to get to all the stories that we have not gotten to so far. We got to talk about the NFL and its first coach firing of the season. That's coming up very shortly. We've got to talk and catch up on the NBA. We've got to talk World Series because the Snakes may not be alive anymore after tonight. It's all coming up in the final 40 of the Rob Brown Show with the Fan Upstate. He also killed that shark. 100%. That was Jim McElwain.
It doesn't mean that Boat is retired. At least I don't think so.
It doesn't. Also, you also got to keep in mind.
Sometimes this thing doesn't work, so Boat would have to return.
Boat will go in that place. You also got to keep in mind that, like everything, it's a shiny new toy. And yet, when you get the shiny new toy, you run the shiny new toy into the ground until it loses that appeal. And then it just becomes something that you break out every now and then.
My cart wall has been lauded. It's never going away. You seen the thing where the Pumpkinhead people are thawing out Mariah Carey?
It's time.
She is not the Queen of Christmas, by the way, but you can't just crown yourself something. I am the King of Kashmir.
I am the Duke of Flannel.
There we go. It is almost fireplace time, though. I'm okay with fireplace time.
Sunday, the fiance has agreed to. Sunday, we're going to do the day NFL games outside. She's going to do her Christmas decorating. I'm going to do some woodworking while we watch the games. Sunday night, she has agreed to a fire and chili in the fire pit outside while we watch the Sunday night game.
Okay. Do you have blankets, or are you just?
Yes.
Okay.
We will have the big. In fact, I'll probably move the guest room couch out to the back driveway for the night.
By the way, James, NFL for me all the way. Although I've never been to an actual NHL game, I bet it's exciting, especially up against the glass. I think that would be really cool.
NHL games are a blast. The Rob Brown radio program continues right here on the Fan Upstate. It is Rob Brown. It is the great one, Lonzo. We are ever so glad to have you and grateful that you're here. The Chiefs lost on Sunday to the Denver Broncos, the first time in 17 games that the Kansas City Chiefs fell to the Broncos. And obviously the Taylor Swift effect has been discussed at length. In games that Taylor has been in attendance, the Chiefs are 4-0. They're 2-2 without her. In games Tay-Tay's been in the building, 28.5 points a game. Without her, 18.3. In games that Tay-Tay has showed up, Travis Kelce is averaging 108 receiving yards. In games sans the Queen, he has got 50 yards of receptions per game. I'm not saying Taylor Swift has any direct impact on the team. That is correlation, not causation. But
all you people,
it's definitely a thing that's happening.
And I'm saying you people on purpose. All you people who wants Taylor Swift to go away, look what happens when she does.
Yeah.
She can come. I'm with Andy Reid. She can come to every single game if she wants.
Hell yeah. Now, here's the fun thing. Lonzo, does the name Nick Lowry mean anything to you?
I believe he was a kicker.
He was a kicker. Not only was he a kicker, he's in the Chiefs Hall of Fame for the kicking. Well, he had quite the take because Travis Kelce decided to take the Friday night before the Broncos game off. And he went to a World Series game. He went to game 1 down in Arlington. Well, Nick Lowry was quoted as saying, "I'm just going to say this once. I adore my Chiefs. I love Patrick. I love Travis, and it's been fun witnessing the Taylor factor, as long as it's not a distraction. However, when I saw Travis watching the World Series in Texas on a Friday night before a road game, do I have to finish the sentence?"
Yeah, actually you do need to finish the
because
sentence.
he then said more.
Okay.
It kind of takes away from the moment when you go, do I have to finish it? And then you finish it. All right. He said, it's always about staying hungry and humble. We don't know what time he got home on Friday night, but it's a distraction and it's not a good message to the rest of the team. Travis is a phenomenal, full of life, true leader the players look up to, a superb human being and one of the greatest Chiefs of all time, period. And one of my favorite people. We will bounce back, but let this be a lesson, end quote.
I wonder if this is addressed on the Kelce podcast. I'll have to listen to that later.
God, I hope it is. I really do. Because, and I'm going to say this very politely and eloquently, screw you, bro. Stop it. Just because you play, and by the way, I'm looking at a picture of Nick Lowry right now. If you'd have told me that was Dick Butkus's also linebacker brother, I'd have believed you. All right? This dude.
Not everybody ages
is a
well.
dude. No. I got a picture of him in his playing days.
Oh, okay.
He was a one-bar helmet, Tom Selleck mustached, big shoulder pad wearing kicker. I'll throw it up on the street. Facebook.com/TheFanUpstate, Twitter.com/TheFanUpstate, on The Fan Upstate on YouTube, and on The Rob Brown Show on Twitch. It's gonna be a small image, but there's your boy. There's your boy. That's a linebacker, bro. I got respect for a kicker built like that guy. All right?
Yeah,
That's
but that doesn't say he's not 5'2", though. I mean, he could be wearing that stuff and be 5'2".
I mean, maybe. Look at that dude's face. That's not a kicker. All right? That's not a kicker. It's not a kicker. That's a bro. That being said, dude, calm down. It's 2023.
You could easily see him in hockey gear, and it would work for sure.
Here is the fun reality.
Wait, I'm just curious. What time do they leave for an away game? Do they leave on Saturday?
Dude, I don't care if they left on Thursday. This man is a grown-ass man who has given more to the Chiefs production-wise than any other tight end ever. If he wants to go to a baseball game on a Friday night when the game is 2 nights away in Denver, pretty sure he can afford to just buy a plane to get him there after the game if he wants to. These people are people. I know that we tend to forget it, but these people are people, and expecting them to have no life other than football is kind of silly.
I'm waiting for you. I mean, you quoted Depeche Mode twice, and I'm waiting for you to continue with the lyric. But anyway, I mean, is this a hot take? Or is
it's a boomer take.
Yeah, is it?
Yeah, it's a boomer take.
Is it?
Yeah, 100%.
I don't think he's a boomer.
Take.
I think he's probably Gen X. He could be a boomer.
Boomer's a state of mind.
Okay, is it?
Boomer's a state of mind.
All right. But it's the same thing as, why is our president on the golf course when he should be? It's like, okay, people, you can't do that 24 hours a day. You need some leisure time. I don't have a problem with that. Just like I don't have a problem with Travis unless he missed his flight because of it or something.
100%.
I mean, and I'm sure you don't go to something like that without permission from the coach.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Big Red didn't have a problem with it, or else he, wouldn't have been there.
Yeah,
Wouldn't have been there.
he's like, bring me back a pretzel. I mean,
The Connor Stallion scandal grows, dudes. It is the single most entertaining thing that has ever happened in college football.
There are photographs.
More photographs. Central Michigan University, which I believe, if I recall correctly, they are the Chippewas. I believe it's
Yeah, don't look at me. Everything up north is just up north for me. So,
Yes, they are the Chippewas. Hashtag nailed it. The Chippewas is investigating photographs taken at Michigan State where a man who appears to be Connor Stallions is on the sideline. That's not why this is interesting. Athletic director Amy Folan, in a statement to ESPN, said the school became aware of the photos late Monday. A man resembling Stallions is on the sideline dressed in Central Michigan issued gear and standing alongside several of the team's coaches while wearing a bench credential. The credential reads VB and appears to be designated for the visiting bench area, which is different from a general sideline pass. It gives access to the designated area between the 20-yard line, which is reserved for players, coaches, trainers, and equipment staffs. Schools are given a finite number of passes for each game. Folan's statement said, quote, "We are in the process of determining the facts surrounding them. As the process is ongoing, we have no further comment at this time." After Tuesday night's 37-31 win over Northern Illinois, Central Michigan coach Jim McElwain said Stallion's name was on no distributed pass. He said, quote, "We obviously are aware of a picture floating around with the sign stealer guy." The sign stealer guy.
It sounds corny saying Stallions. It just does. I mean, I think some people have trouble saying Connor Stallions.
Freddy Krueger, Jason, Michael Myers, the sign stealer guy. He's on that level. McElwain said, our people are doing everything they can to get to the bottom of it. We were totally unaware of it. I certainly don't condone it in any way, shape, or form. I do know that his name was on none of the passes that were given out. Now we just keep tracing it back to figure it out. But he's in good hands. It's in good hands with our people. And again, there's no place in football for that, end quote. A Michigan spokesperson declined to comment when asked about Stallions' whereabouts September 1st, which, by the way, this goes away real quick. If Michigan goes, bro, he was with us. That couldn't have been him because he was, working for us in a place that we told him to be that night. Here's a video, by the way. There's a video of the game with the dude in there. Now, I don't know if it's him or not. I'm not super familiar with the face of Connor Stallions. I will say, if he was trying to go undercover, Lonzo, he had the perfect The Avengers character who's got to go to the mall but doesn't want to be recognized as a superhero while he's at the mall costume. He's got the bad goatee, the big glasses, the generic hat pulled down, and a jacket on. It is the quintessential spy who we need the audience to be able to see, but he's got to be blending in outfit from the movies on. It's spectacular. According to NCAA rules, the team area during games includes a maximum of 50 non-squad members directly involved in the game. Those not in full uniform or special credentials. According to NCAA Rule 124B, no other credential is valid for the team area, end quote. We know that he has purchased tickets for other Big Ten schools and for several other games involving former potential Michigan opponents. A former Division III football player and coach told ESPN that Stallions compensated him to attend games involving Michigan opponents and record their sideline with his smartphone. So now we got a guy that's gone on the record and said, yeah, he Venmo'd me. I did the thing that he said he's not supposed to be doing.
No, we got a rat.
We got a rat.
We got a rat. No.
And you know what we do to rats around here, huh? You know what happens to a rat when a rat gets caught. Let's just say it's not a full-fledged dinner party. You understand? You feel me?
Michigan Mafia, man. They exist.
Hey. Bring me some of that cornbread, huh? Hey. You know what color we like to wear? Maize. I love it. I love it so much. I love this story so much. I really do. Like on one hand, I don't care, and on the other hand, I care a lot. And I can't figure out which hand is heavier right now.
I'm trying not to get too into this to where it really affects how I feel. Would I like to see?
I don't feel like you need the help.
Yeah, but I mean, because I don't want to be seen as an Ohio State homer, just wanting to see the demise of anything Michigan, because that's just not true. That would not be no. I'm not that guy. No, that's not me.
So this dude was allegedly at a Central Michigan Chippewas v. Michigan State Spartan game on the sideline.
You did. I didn't hear you mention Michigan State, because the whole time I'm thinking is, why is he there? Is he practicing? I mean, why is he there for this? But they're playing at Michigan State. Okay, all right.
He was there. It was Central Michigan versus Michigan State. Central Michigan does not appear on the Wolverine schedule this year, but Sparty did, a game that they won 49-0. Now, Sparty's not that good. Sparty's also had a little bit of drama taking place around the program as well. So it's kind of understandable. If the goal was steal signs from Michigan State, you want to be in a perspective that you can see the entire bench. You can see all the signals, because ordinarily, if you're watching a game, there can be like 5, 6, 7, 10, 12 dudes giving signals, right? And sometimes there's one guy that's the real signal giver, and they have all these other guys giving different fake signals, but the players are looking at that guy. And sometimes they have everybody's giving signals to an individual player. Sometimes you got a couple of guys, and they're each giving signals to a different position group. You got the fat guy giving the offensive line signals. You got the skinny guy giving them to the wide receivers. You got one dude to the tight end, one guy to the QB. During the last play, they're all coordinating as to the next play, and then they also, whatever. Connor Stallions, according to this story, was standing on the Central Michigan Chippewas sideline, which would give him full view and access to the entire Sparty sideline from as close as you can possibly get to it and still be able to see the whole thing. And now Central Michigan's like, gotcha. Throwing some video up. We got some video that's going around on the ESPN right now of a man alleged to be Connor Stallions. Now, as I have told you, I am a big fan of this story, and I'm a big fan of this story, CSI Ann Arbor, because it's the most ludicrous damn thing I've heard in a very long time. So I went and started looking up pictures of Connor Stallions, and I'm going to tell you, if that ain't Connor Stallions, it's his damn evil twin, because he got a goatee. The goatee is the sign of evil twin.
Absolutely. And, all people with goatees do not look alike. It's definitely Connor Stallions.
Correct. But if there's an evil twin's got the goatee. That's how it works. If it's not Connor Stallions, it's his freaking brother.
Hey, does our boss have a goatee?
I mean, listen.
It's
an elective choice.
Okay. All right.
I rocked a goatee for like 7 years, bro. 100% I did.
I've done it before. Yeah.
I love this story. Keegan says Connor Stallions is a great bad guy name. 100%. 100%. Great running back name. Great bad guy name. This gets progressively more ludicrous by the day, and I'm obsessed with it. I am like the Swiftie of this story, man. Like every time we talk about this, somebody hits me with, no, I do not. I cannot. I will not. You're telling me this guy, because here's the other part. Let me tell you what I hope happened. In my brain, as I make up this story in my own head, my head canon as to what's happening here, there was a guy.
Fantasy booking,
100%.
if you will.
There was a guy back in the day when I was broadcasting down in Florida. There was a guy whose name I shan't say, who was a regular character on the other local show on our station. And this guy this was the early 2000s or the late 2000s to early 2010s. This guy, Lonzo, would find ways to find sideline passes to games, like pictures of him, and then he would fabricate them, right? He would find a picture of a pass, and then he'd go to Photoshop, and he would recreate the sideline pass, and then he'd go find and look at what the lanyards look like, and he would fabricate and make one, and then he would just go to games. He had a picture of himself standing at the 50-yard line at a Super Bowl. I think it was either Brady's first or second Super Bowl with Tom Brady. And I'm like, how the hell did you get there? He's like, I just made a pass.
See,
like,
here's the thing.
What?
The guy in college who makes all the fake IDs, he's got to have something to do when he graduates.
100%.
So there he is. There's that guy. That's what he's doing.
I've been on a lot of college football sidelines. I promise you, it's not easy to get there. All right, it's not. So this cat not only found a way to get a game day sideline credential, he was with the Chippewas. He was like in their bench, right? But he also, to commit to the gimmick, he decked out in full Central Chippewas gear. He's a Michigan man. He's in full Chippewas gear on the side.
Well, if Connor Stallions was indeed an employee of Michigan, Michigan has money, so they can give him a stipend for costumes, if you will.
100%.
Or to grease the right palms to get your hands on some official gear.
100%. Homeboy sees himself as the world's greatest spy, right? Like that dude sees himself as college football James Bond. 100%. That dude goes home and he like brags to his wife about it. He's like, babe, I totally got on the sideline today. You should have seen me in action. First, I took a clipboard and I held it just enough in front of my face, but I had on the Chippewas hat so they never saw it coming. I ducked into a hallway. I stood behind the laundry cart. I waited for the custodian to start rolling it down the hall. I ducked up underneath it. He pushed me past security. When I got past security, I did a full somersault out. Then I saw Jim McElwain, because he's the coach there, a thing that we all definitely already knew before today. And I saw Mac walking down the hall, and I'm like, uh-oh, he'll notice me. So I tucked in behind the light pole, and I waited. And I waited, and I slowed my heart rate down. And I started doing my meditative breathing. And then silence. And then I made my move. And there I was on the sideline. And I saw Mel Tucker. And now I know how they run the 38 special play dive ISO brick rocket 24 special left. I said special twice. I stole the sign so good I got him twice. In this dude's head, he is college football's greatest spy. And now they just have him on video doing the definite worst thing he's done so far. Like, it's one thing to Venmo some clown and be like, hey, go film their game for me. I think that's something that Lonzo, honestly, I think that's something that all of us would have been like, yeah, it's dumb, but whatever. Everybody that's not a Buckeye would have been like, whatever. Like, it's stupid, but whatever. We all own TVs now. We all have DVRs. Now this dude straight up got caught standing on the sideline on a fake pass, not wearing his gear, but wearing the opponent's gear to fit in at a game against a bad team. This story is incredible. Texas said, are there any crimes here, or is it just rule violations? I don't know. I got to feel like if he definitely had a forged sideline pass, I got to think that would be a crime, right? Like trespassing or something?
Yeah, some
It's
sort.
got to be trespassing. Maybe we have entered into crime territory. You know what sounder I just realized I got to add now? Bum, bum.
Yeah, I was just thinking I need to get the who yell.
Yeah! Ba-bum. We got to take a break. All right, stop it. I'm an idiot. Come back here in a minute. We'll wrap this show up. I'm Rob Brown. That's Lonzo. We together are the greatest radio show in all the land. This is the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
So if you see a certain school is trending and you click on it and someone's videos show up multiple times, doesn't that say that that person is for that team? I'm just curious. I'm old. I don't know how the internet really works. So, I need some clarification.
Don't understand the tubes.
Yeah, I don't. They say click, I click, and sometimes it works.
They say click, I click. There is a Twitter account from the AP called AP Oddities, and it is just all the AP's weird news stories.
That sounds like fun.
A video shows a bear easily taking lasagna from the freezer of a Connecticut home. 2 Alaska wildlife troopers saved 2 deer struggling against the current while trying to swim from one island to another. The headline of that story is, what a good idea.
Wow.
A Georgia man was left reeling after receiving a $1.4 million speeding ticket, but city officials say the figure was just a placeholder, not the actual fine.
Okay. So it's like a starter. We're going to start at this month. No, I don't know. I don't get it.
The AP Oddities has released the winner of this year's Fat Bear Week competition at
Ooh.
Alaska's Katmai National Park.
Didn't know there was one. What does the winning bear get?
This story infuriated me. The winner of this year's biggest pumpkin contest grew a pumpkin that weighed 2,749 pounds, and he named it Michael Jordan.
Are you having green envy?
No.
'Cause you can't grow a pumpkin now?
I'm mad he named it Michael Jordan. He should have named it Michael Gordon. It was right there.
Yeah, but some people wouldn't have got it.
Screw those people. That's a great joke. Michael Gordon. Gord. It's a gourd. Michael Gordon.
Now I want lasagna.
I do want lasagna.
I gotta wait till Christmas.
I might do some more baked ziti this week.
I'm waiting till Christmas. Since we have lasagna for Christmas, it makes I know it's next month because Christmas is remember Christmas is next month, so we can have it next month.
Not about Christmas, just the fact that it's already November. Federal authorities have arrested a 77-year-old man for allegedly buying more than $1,800 in erectile dysfunction drugs without a prescription and intending to sell them at the Villages. Old people are awesome.
I have some firsthand knowledge about some stuff. Ask me after the show.
Oh, bet. Why would I ask you after?
I guess it's not. No, it's not firsthand. It's secondhand. It's not firsthand. I would actually
believe
do
it
there.
for the record. Before you even tell me what it is, I already believe it.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it on the air because I'll get in trouble. So.
A Phillies fan and his emotional support animal, an alligator named Wally, were denied entrance to watch the Phillies host Pittsburgh.
So that's why the Gritty did the alligator thing in response to that? Okay.
An artist who was given cash by a Denmark museum to create a piece for its exhibition on labor conditions submitted 2 empty canvases. Her project was called Take the Money and Run. Now the artist is appealing a court ruling to repay the cash. No, screw you, art people. You got what was coming to you. All right? You deserve it.
Were they specific in the labor practices they wanted her to depict?
Art people, I love art. I'm a big art guy, but like highfalutin art people are the worst people. Work or kickback, Lonzo? The Oscar Mayer Wienermobile was having its name changed. In fact, it did change names. It changed names to the Frankmobile. And then 4 months later, Oscar Mayer pulled back and said, no, we're going to go back to the Wienermobile. Was that a gimmick to get attention, or was that genuine pushback from America that was like, no, dude, no, it's the Wienermobile, and it will always be the Wienermobile.
I'm going to call that Clemsoning.
I'm going to let you call it that.
Making noise about something to get national attention.
Fair enough.
That's what I'm going to go with.
Fair enough.
I could have called it Daboing, but Clemsoning is already a thing. So, you know.
I found a Twitter account that just gathers weird news stories into a conglomeration. Woman rescued from an outhouse toilet in Michigan while trying to retrieve her Apple Watch.
Yeah, I think we've done that story on the Upstate Pulse.
That's pretty
before.
spectacular.
Yeah.
Pretty spectacular. All right. Okay. Y'all. I have been to probably, 50 Major League Baseball games in my life. I'm very fortunate. I know. I've been to a game in Houston. I've been to a game in Colorado. I've been to, obviously, a ton of games in Atlanta. I've been to a game in Tampa. I've been to games in Miami. I've been to a lot of MLB games. And one of the things you've heard me say on the show, I have never caught a foul ball or a home run in a game. 50 plus.
Because you don't take a glove.
Don't need to. I've never had one come around me. I've never had one land in the same section.
Balls are attracted to mitts. So
no, they're
you
not.
take
No, they're not.
They
No, they're not.
absolutely
No,
are.
they're not. No, they're not. Stop it. At the Braves, like third to last regular season game this year, me and some of the boys went over to Atlanta, and we sat directly behind Ronald Acuna in right field, just one section over from the Chop House, a very popular home run section. Lonzo, there were 5 home runs in that game. All 5 went to left field, where I was not.
So you're saying you're the opposite of a magnet.
I'm saying I'm the opposite of this guy. A man in the final regular season Mets game of the year managed to snag not 1 but 2 foul balls in the span of 3 pitches. Dude, screw you. Are you kidding me? 50-plus games, I've never even come close to one. This guy got 2 in a 3-pitch at bat. That guy sucks. He doesn't suck. He's awesome. He's amazing. I'm very jealous, but that guy sucks.
You need to calm your ball envy down.
We'll repackage that later. Was there anything else we didn't get to? I feel like there is, and I don't know what it is. I'm a bad host right now. Mainly because my mom just told me I look homeless.
It's the flannel. It's not the hair. It's the flannel. If you wear flannel, if you wear flannel and you have long hair, now he just looks like a hipster. Now, if you were wearing what you would probably call a beanie, it would complete the thing.
I almost did. I got a black one.
I would call it
I knew it wasn't going to stay that cold all day. All right, wasn't gonna stay that cold all day.
Well, it's not exactly going to be warm. It's going to be like in the upper 50s.
Yeah, that's not.
It's still flannel weather, I guess.
It's solid flannel weather. It's not toboggan weather or
But
whatever y'all call it.
Is it soup season yet?
Oh yeah.
Is it? Okay.
We had chili last night. It was delicious.
Chili's not soup. It's chili.
Yeah, but it goes in soup season.
But it's not called chili soup.
No, but it happens in the same season. They are co-seasons.
Okay.
Flannel season, chili season, soup season. It's all the same. Yeah, let's do that thing that we do here. I've ruined the end of this show.
You couldn't ruin it if you tried, because I just did and it didn't work. All right, the first thing that's Xing is, well, I'm going to tell Rob what's Xing, and he's going to tell us what it is. First thing that's Xing is Day of the Dead.
I'm going to drink a lot of beer tonight, Jim. Budweiser.
Day of the Dead, a Romero film, came out today.
No, today is actually the Day of the Dead.
Oh, Dia de la Muerta. That is correct. It is also All Saints Day. That's right. I'm an idiot. I'm like thinking about the movie. Yes.
Good movie, by the way.
Great movie.
Yeah.
I love the OG zombie movies. They're great. Today is Dia de la Muerta, which is a day to honor ancestors that have passed on. It is also All Saints Day if you are from that world. So whatever you're celebrating today, as we have now put the spooky season in the rearview mirror, and according to my fiance, for no damn reason, it's Christmas, everybody!
It's because our sister station, 106.3, Magic 106.3, is now playing Christmas music.
You put me in a very precarious situation because I was about to ready to go on the rant that today is not the day to put up your tree. It is November 1st. Can Thanksgiving get some love?
I quelled it.
And then Lonzo's like, yeah, let me say a thing that's absolutely going to ruin Rob's next
Well,
point.
we got an email. So, I mean, the next thing that's Xing is John Gruden.
Chucky? Back to the Raiders?
I think people are being wishful, and that's why it's trending.
I think people are being comedic.
It's the last time they were winning is when he was there.
Also true.
And finally, Ron Rivera is Xing.
So now that the firing dam has been knocked down, somebody else is coming close. And yeah, I've got to think Ron's next. I hate it. But the Commanders aren't good. And the fact that they traded everybody they traded says, blow it up, start it up again. That's it for us, kids. Y'all have a lovely rest of today. When we come back tomorrow, we got Fight Club, Rashad Beard, Emily Adams. It's going to be a busy day. We hope to see you back. My name is Rob Brown. That's the great one, Lonzo. This was the Rob Brown Radio program right here on the Fan Upstate. Yeah.
Well, that last sounded like you were dying.
Yeah, I was out of breath there. I tried to jump in because my executive producer was giving me the hurry up signal. So I was trying to rush through it.
Just doing my job, man.
Doing my job.
Now, the part that they don't tell you got to do, math.
Ugh. Gross. All right, y'all. You're all spectacular people, and we sincerely appreciate your participation in this radio program. Have a lovely rest of your day. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Goodbye.